8-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
It's time, Michael. God, my Loomis sounds like he has a collapsed lung. That was so bad. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
And I'm Miguel.
And we have got a super packed show tonight. This is episode number 15 of our horror show, Purely and Simply Evil. Miguel, my friend, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm desperately trying to figure out this volume thing. So as you can see, guys, I have a clearance level pair of headphones. And I can't change the audio, so that entire intro was just screaming in my fucking ear. But other than that, great. Tails wagging and everything.
How's everybody in the chat? We got Jonathan, Kenneth, Mark. What's going on? Rosalia, another Jonathan is here. As we said, we hope everybody's doing well. We're feeling great because we've got a really cool show tonight, as we are not alone. Tonight, we are joined by 2 very special people, 2 big influences on us and on our channel, 2 really special dudes that we need to thank, at least in part, for at least some of the inspiration to give this thing a shot. So you know them as Dr. Chalice and Slenderman. I'm kidding. I mean, Michael and Dr. Loomis, of course. Please give a warm welcome to Mike and Jay from We Watched the Movie. How you guys
Hello.
doing?
What's up?
How are you all doing tonight? Glad you're with us.
Hey, man, your all's intro music fucking rocks, dude. That got me all jacked up and shit. Like, it was badass.
Hey, look at that. Brad, you get brownie points for that one. Look at that.
Mike, I saw you jump when the scream happened. I'm sorry if it was
I was wondering if you guys could see me or not, because mine got a lot louder, too. And I was just sitting here, and it was like, bah, 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 and I was like, oh, fuck.
I told you, it gets really loud.
It's funny because the intro music sometimes, like, I don't know if it's a Wi-Fi thing or if it's a StreamYard thing, but, like, it'll be, like, it won't, like, I'll click start, and then it's like a delay, and then it just like it slaps you in the nuts like as soon as it starts and makes you jump out of your skin.
It's a nut slapper.
I know, right?
Oh yeah.
So first of all, thank you guys so much for agreeing to come on the show. We're super stoked to have you guys. Really appreciate your all's time. It's gonna be a blast, man.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah,
It's awesome to be here with you guys.
We're honored to be here, man.
Appreciate it. There's a lot on the agenda. As we spoke about before we went live, we're going to talk about you guys and your channel a little bit before moving on to some Dream Warriors and a deep character study on Neil, as I keep joking around with, because Neil is the biggest. I don't know. There's no word to describe Neil. There's a lot of words we could use. And then we're going to talk some Halloween at the end because Halloween ends at the end. That's a mouthful because it wouldn't be a party if we didn't. So, and to everybody watching right now, thanks for being here. Be sure to leave the stream a like. And if you've got questions for Mike and Jay, if you have questions for us, throw them in the chat and we'll be sure to get to them tonight. So the first and obvious question for all 3 of you is, what are we drinking tonight?
Oh, I love that.
Maybe the most important question we talk about.
It's my favorite. I got some Maker's Mark and Diet Ale 8. That's a Kentucky thing. The Diet Ale 8 is. Well, you guys know. You guys live in freaking Kentucky. What am I talking about?
We're in Kentucky.
Yeah, it's a good mix, man.
Have you had the Blackberry Ale? It's like fairly new.
No, I can't drink. I can only do like zero and like diet stuff. So I just now got to try the cherry stuff. And it's just because it makes me sick. If I eat any syrup or like syrupy substance, I will like crawl into a painful ball for 30 minutes until I release a horrifying fart. And then I feel better.
Jesus. Sometimes it's got to be that way. Listen, the Blackberry is really good with like with Maker's Mark or with Woodford or like something in it. You know, it's really good. So
I will try that. As soon as they release the diet, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, it's a limited time, so I don't know if they release a diet version of those or what I don't know.
Oh, it's gaining in popularity. I'm sure it'll come right back. Yeah.
It is. Jay, what you drinking, buddy?
I got like the party beer. It's Zima.
Zima?
Oh, no, it's a superior light beer. It's Michelob Ultra. That's what I always go to.
Fair,
oh, okay.
fair.
I got it.
It's like if you don't ever want to go to a party, like, hey guys, got a 12-pack of Zima. Who's down? So get that fucking asshole out of here.
All right. I went with the classic Blue Moon. It's a nice summertime beer. So
yeah. Where's your orange though, man? It's kind of off kilter if you ain't got an orange in it though.
I'm moving and my fridge is completely almost empty. That's where my orange is. It's still sitting at Kroger. So
Okay, I got you.
what are you drinking?
Well,
Miguel?
I still got my 6-pack of 35K, so I'm just slamming those things down. And
That's huge.
yeah, it's huge. It's pretty much a dinner in a glass, pretty much, because it'll fill you up quick. So big fan of it right now. I give it
what kind of beer
like
is
an 8
that?
out of 10. It's a stout, dog.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
so it's a good old thick one. Yeah,
So you're gonna pound about 5 of those tonight and just be shit faced to the end of the show.
I'm kind of scared. I think at the end of this, I might have a little bit of a buzz. So I don't know. I'm a little bit of a lightweight today. Yeah.
Well, you said you have a 6-pack of them, right? Drink all 6.
Yeah, sure. Let me
Take
just
'em down.
log off real quick and just grab the rest. Yeah.
You're like, so I don't know what we're doing. Like, you just like slide right out of your chair at the end of the night.
So it'll be a wham stream.
Yeah.
Be good to go.
I know, right?
Oh yeah.
Speaking of like liquor, this is a funny story. Before we went to he came over to my house and we watched Stranger Things Volume 2. I guess a couple weeks ago, and we stopped in a liquor store. We got to Mexican with our ladies and went in the liquor store. And this liquor store is always cranking music, like heavy rock music. And I looked up at the screen, and my wife finally looked at me and she was like, "What the hell? What is this?" It was Creed versus Nickelback in like a mashup. It was the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I remember that. Yeah.
Now.
It was like, should have been dead on a Sunday morning. Look at this photograph. I was like, whoa. I look over at Miguel and he's like,
I haven't even got my liquor yet, and I'm already fucking drunk. I'm hearing shit.
I know, right?
Pretty much.
I never knew I needed that until right now.
It's like something you just drive around to, like in a convertible. Creed versus Nickelback all day.
That's true.
On a loop.
Both great
Convertible
bands.
Miata.
Oh yeah, convertible Miata. Love it. Yeah, I don't
Flames
get
on
the
the
hate
side.
of Nickelback. That's
I
like
know.
old news now at this point.
You know what it is? Nickelback is kind of like what Def Leppard was in the 80s. Like it's like something you'll like rock your head to when you're alone, but like if anybody brings it up in public conversation, you're like, dude, they fucking
Exactly.
suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Nickelback is
everybody
like my
secretly
guilty
owns the
pleasure
Nickelback
song for sure.
Mm.
I like the first like 2 or 3 albums were good. Like they had good songs on them. And then they started doing like strip club rock. And I just I bowed out. I was like, I haven't heard a good Nickelback song in a while, but there are good Nickelback songs, you know?
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah.
You can't listen to Nickelback unless you're drinking Ziva or whatever the hell beer you're drinking.
Ziva.
Yeah, that's it.
So let's talk about you guys a little bit. I started watching you guys probably around 2016, 17. It was the intro. It was the Halloween Horror Month intro when Jay is sitting in the driveway with and he's stabbing the pumpkin and like screaming. Like,
Oh, dude.
you know what I'm talking about? I shouldn't sit and do this on air, but I'm going to do it anyway. But it, you guys were like, I said earlier, we owe you a thank you because like you guys are what opened my eyes to the whole like horror / like movie YouTube community thing. Like I never realized that was even a thing until I found your channel. And that was kind of paralleled with Halloween 2018 coming out. But it's funny. I didn't even know you guys were in Kentucky until I had watched you guys for like 2 or 3 years. And then I feel like one of you said something about Richmond, which is where we're him and I are both from Richmond.
Oh.
And you had said something. I was like, no way. It's like, there's no way. And then I think you mentioned the Paddy Wagon or something like that.
Yeah. Great
I was
bar,
like,
Paddy Wagon.
I know that's an awesome bar. And I was like, wow, man, that's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about the story, the WWAM story? Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Elm Street one of like the first Elm Street 3, excuse me. Wasn't that like one of the first films you guys watched like when you were younger together? Or what got you into Elm Street?
It was. I watched it with my 12-year-old last night, and I told her, I was like, this was like one of the first horror movies I ever saw. I hadn't seen a nightmare movie, and I'm sitting in Jay's house, and I don't know how old we were, dude, but we were really young. And he was like, I rented this, and it had the clear VHS tape cover that I rented. It's like, we're gonna watch this, and I'm like, I haven't seen the fucking first one. He's like, you don't need to see the fucking first one. Shut up. And then like we just watched it, and that's one of my that's a fond memory for me.
Yeah, I watched. There was a place where I'm. Well, the city I'm from, the town Winchester. You know where that is.
Yeah.
There was a place called Downtown Video, and there was this sweet old man that ran it, and he he didn't check IDs. He didn't know anything. So when I was like 7 years old, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street 1. He's like, "Oh, you having a booger? You having a booger night
Oh,
monster
hell yeah.
evening or something?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's for kids or whatever." And he let me watch it. I got hooked. And yeah, I remember showing Mike Nightmare 3, and I think it was one of those nights we watched like Nightmare 3 and like maybe The Shining together or something like that. I don't remember, but
that's a hell of a combo.
Yeah, it was. I know
romantic.
it was a double hit. I know it was a romantic night.
Right. I bet you all kissed each other tenderly after that.
On the cheek.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
it evolved later.
That's why we have such a love for horror. Is that's
Yeah.
the first time we butt fucked.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. Can I say that on your show?
Dude, you can
I
say
should
whatever
have
you want on our
asked.
show. I don't
either.
care. I don't care what you say. Well, it's funny. Elm Street 1 is funny because like I remember watching that for the first time, and it kind of, when you're a kid, that movie gets you. Like
Oh,
it kind
dude,
of does
for
get
real.
you, and then but it's like it gets you and it scares the shit out of you, but at the same time, you almost can't not watch it again, or like you can't
Mhm.
take your eyes off of it. It's really
Yeah.
mesmerizing. Jaws did the same thing to me because I'm originally from Florida.
Oh,
And Jaws destroyed me when I was a kid. But it's just kind of cool, and it's funny. Like a couple of years ago, we had started the channel, and like for many of you listening, like I'm a teacher, and I'm on my way back from a late night school thing, and I knew Miguel was out and about in Lexington, and I'm driving, and he calls me on the phone, and he's like, "Dude, I think Mike is here," and I was like, "Mike?" He was like, "We watched."
Oh
the movie
yeah,
tonight."
I was
like,
about that
I was like,
later.
what are you talking about? And he was like, I'm at Marika's, and I think he's here or whatever. And I was like, okay. So then he just hangs up the phone, and I'm like, okay. So I drive.
That
I
was
get
the
to my
best way
drive.
to like blue ball him, wasn't it, guys?
It was. I was
love
like,
that.
okay, I don't know what to do with that. And then I get to my driveway, and I look at my phone, and this is the first thing I see. I was like, well,
That's what I think of your
crap, man.
nuts suck.
I'm like, well, I'm missing the party. Apparently, they're having a blast over there.
No,
But-
Mike was so quick with it too, because like he was like, my friend Phil or Tucker was taking a picture, and he was like, "All right, in 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, I'm gonna grab your balls real quick." And I was like, "Oh okay," and that's when the picture took, and I was like, "Oh okay." So
Can you make sure
that's
your finger goes
permanently
to the
like-
left. I've got an itch.
Yeah.
It was the balls of the ass. I couldn't decide really.
You get done taking the picture, and it's like, that wasn't a good one. Can you do that one more time?
Yeah.
I'm
Without
gonna
the
say,
cameras. Let's go to the bathroom.
If there
real quick.
wasn't
All right.
if there wasn't sand in my crack, there definitely was now after that. Yeah, for sure.
That's actually a good story behind that because it was so funny, and I tell people this all the time because one thing people ask you when you hang out with them, like, you do YouTube, and they're like, do you get recognized anywhere or whatever? And I was sitting there, and one of our friends we play with, I'd never met his wife before, and we're sitting there at the table talking at this bar, and I'm talking to his wife, and she's asking me all the usual questions people ask when they're like, "You're 30, what? And you do YouTube for a living?" And she is not buying what I'm selling at all. I'm like, "No, it's fun. Like, we've been doing it for like 10 years. Like, I do this for a job." She's like, "You do this? What?" And you could see in her face, like you usually do. And then she's just like checked out. And I'm like, okay. She thinks I'm a weirdo. And then all of a sudden, Miguel walks up like a shining angel in the night. And he just walks over and he goes, "Are you Mike from We Watched the Movie?" And she goes, "Oh, fuck, I should have been nicer to this guy."
That's awesome. And then she sees you do the ball grab picture, and then she walks over and she's like,
I thought you said he did YouTube, not Pornhub. What the hell? Is
Yeah,
he
yeah.
doing?
Wrong
you have
type
an
of kid, my guy.
OnlyFans? Is that what?
What the hell?
Yeah. No, but-
Courtney Reed, what's going on, man? He says, "Leave a like or your balls will swell, and if you don't have balls, the man you love will have swollen balls."
Ah,
Wow,
that is true.
Ah,
Wow.
yes.
Suck 'em. What?
Well written quote. Put that on a bumper sticker, guys. For sure.
Oh
Love
my
you,
god,
Courtney.
could you imagine that on a bumper sticker? That's awesome.
I imagine that on like a fortune cookie. Like you're
Fortune
opening up
cookie,
and you're like,
yeah.
holy shit! Look at this fucking.
I'm
this
not-
is some crazy stuff right here.
I would
If
be
you
really
flip it in the
concerned
back.
though.
You can and it's like the learn a word in Chinese, and it's balls. So there you go.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
perfect.
if I just ate an entire plate of Chinese and then I found that in my fortune cookie, I would kind of be like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I
It's
feel like I don't.
they were sending me a
Here's what I
message.
ate.
Yeah.
I'll have the cream of some young guy.
Well, here's the thing that got me about you guys, like the community and the relationships that you built with all your listeners. Like, I had never seen that before, and I didn't know that was possible on the internet. Like, I just never it was just something that like I never thought about. You know what I mean? And like, I can't tell you how many times the two of you got me through like a long drawn out shift to work. Like, I used to work at Old Navy in between semesters of college in Lexington, and like I would do like the truck and the stocking. So I'd be there at like 3:30, 4 a.m. And literally I would go, like, I still have like the playlist on my phone of all your videos. Like that's what I would sit and listen to. Like all your reviews of like all the Elm Streets and all the Fridays and all the Halloweens and stuff. Like,
you need that to work at Old Navy. Have you all ever been in there? Like the music they play is so fucking
Yeah.
bad. I haven't been in Old Navy in
I
like
know.
10 years, but every time you go in there, it's like, oons, 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 oons.
Well,
Like,
great,
fuck, I'm just
yeah.
gonna buy some jeans.
that's
You know,
like
My man was in
carefully
the trenches,
calculated.
too.
Like that's like a Spotify playlist on loop, and it's supposed to be like upbeat, like get you shopping music. It's ridiculous. I don't know why that would make you. I don't know who walks through a store doing like the Patrick Bateman like.
I'm just gonna go to Kohl's. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, man. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that it got you through your shifts at Old Navy. But you know, and as far as the community goes, like, yeah, it's really been it's actually been a shocker and actually a really good surprise that there's been like the horror community is so awesome. Like out of all the other communities that are out there, you've got like, you know, if you look at the, I mean, and again, I'm going to use this word, but I don't like using it, but it is true. If you look like some like Star Wars community, it's toxic as fuck. Marvel is toxic. DC can be toxic. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's weird. Like those, you know, those kind of places you wouldn't think, you know, everybody's coming together. It's like, I like Greedo and Han Solo and Luke, you know, you'd be like, all right, we're all geeks here. Let's have a good time. But and you wouldn't expect it to be so toxic. But so it's kind of strange that in the horror community, there's so many cool people that are just like, hey, man, you know, we all come from different walks, you know, of life and different backgrounds, but we all come together and enjoy shit like, you know, Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or Leatherface or Jason. I think that's cool. Yeah. And it was a total shocker and a wonderful surprise that, you know, as we continued on with YouTube, that we got to see that.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Well, and it's funny. Like, I think there's a stigma, like, and it's really an unnecessary stigma about like horror fans being like weird or like, oh, they like people that kill people and like all this weird shit. But like horror fans are like some of the nicest people I've ever met. Like,
it's true. That's
like,
true,
honestly,
They get their rocks off enough with movies in general, so it's like no need for it. That's how it works.
You release all your stress through
it was cathartic. I'm good now.
Yeah. So, but I mean, for real, thank you both from the bottom of my heart for that and for showing me what this could be, because that, I mean, it's, you guys have an absolute blast filming your stuff, and like, and you can tell that your all's friendship is genuine, and it's just awesome. It's pretty cool. So,
man,
thank you for loving me.
I know.
Thank you, man. It's so good. Thank you guys.
You're very welcome, man. So I like, even honestly, one of the first videos I remember watching of you guys was it's the one where, and it's one of the funniest things. Like, I laugh my ass off every time I watch it. When it's like the Loomis is driving to check in on Michael, and it's he threw bread at me, Sheriff. When he shows up and Michael's like chasing the delivery man like down the driveway or whatever, and that was hysterical. The Pocky challenge, which I know that wasn't hysterical for you, was it?
Oh no, dude. I've told the story before, but that it was painful on film. But it was when I woke up on my couch at 3 a.m., ran to the bathroom, and ended up butt naked on the toilet holding a trash can. I never did puke, but I felt like I was going to puke. So I'm butt naked, covered in sweat, like almost crying. I may have been crying. I'm not going to tell you guys. And like,
that's the funniest thing. I swear to God, that's the funniest story he ever told me. Because I could just see like Rocky, like he's probably like Rocky's sweat coming off his forehead. And he said they're butt naked. He looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger in T2. And he's just sitting there shitting on the toilet alone in the dark and yelling for his wife. I don't know why that shit's so funny.
I was scared for my life.
Oh my God.
I believe it, man. I've had to try. I've had a number of like extremely hot sauce. Like, I don't know if you've heard I guess the latest like hottest one I've seen is like called Flatline. It's like in like a bottle this small. And if that doesn't tell you how hot it is, I had like maybe like a little bit of a chip. And next thing you know, and it was during a shift. So it was like during a lunch break. So I had 4 more hours of like absolute fucking agony. And I went outside to go like, you know, try to throw up my guts. And it was like, it just started storming rain on me. So I got rain all on top of me. I'm puking my guts out. And I got so much fucking, it was a sign. Like, I dare say that I did cry, but it could have been just the rain going down my face too. So I mean, either one is game. Yeah.
Props to you for sticking it out on your shift, though. I mean, I'd have contacted my boss and be like, well, my crack is on fire. Literally, Satan has moved in there. I need to go home.
I think you need to call an ambulance, dude. Like,
one of the benefits was like it wasn't just me. It was like 2 other guys in my crew, and we were like, yeah, we're just gonna sit here and suffer together because we both made that decision, unfortunately. We had to sit there and suffer. None of us could go home.
I love hot foods too. I've always been a huge hot food guy. Just the older and older I get, I'm like, nope, that's tomorrow. Like I can't give my tomorrow to this now.
Right? Did the little hot sauce bottle? Did it come with a dropper, or like the we have to drop a little bit at a time?
It was a dropper. It was pretty much that like you would expect it. Yeah, it was one of those. And I just put in like a small little chip too. And next thing you know, I'm puking Skyline chili all over the fucking hanger. And it was by far. I'm sure that noodle is still next to the hanger today.
It's always on the days that you eat chili.
Oh, right, exactly.
Oh man. Not to change the topic from throwing up spicy food. How did you guys come up with the Michael Loomis thing? Like the freaking hysterical relationship that you guys have between those characters. Like it's just hysterical. Was that something that you like? That you had thought of going in, or did that just kind of naturally happen?
It was literally like the first Michael video that we ever did was a 20-minute drunk conversation. We were bored, we were bored as fuck, and we were like hanging out. I was like, hey man, let's do a Michael Myers skit or something like that. And that wound up being Sundays with Michael. That was the first video that we did as a sketch. Where I used to live with my ex-wife, and we did that through that neighborhood. We were trying. It was literally on the fly. There was no planning. We were just on the fly.
Yeah.
And my brother was playing Michael, and I remember that Mike was driving the car. Then my ex-wife was with him, but I had like the camera. I was like, I'm gonna get all fucking fancy with this. I'm gonna have the camera sticking out the car, and he's gonna be standing behind the tree. And I'm surprised that no one called the cops. Like these motherfuckers are casing houses, like they multiple people. I don't know, but and as far as Loomis goes, that was only added in. Actually, Loomis was in that Sundays with Michael for just a second. But as far as like actually being on camera, Mike wanted to do this. Michael works out, the Michael Myers where he takes like workout powder or whatever. And he's like, well, I got to have Dr. Loomis in it because it'd be funny if he was like coaching him or training him. And it started from there, and I didn't want to do it. I was like, that's fucking stupid, dude. Like, no one's gonna. It's Donald Pleasance. First off, he's a badass, and Michael Myers, like whoever plays, gets to hide behind the mask, and you can be Michael Myers. But I was like, if you're gonna be, your face is out there, and you gotta do it like this, and that's like, and people are gonna be like, oh shit, like this is fucking awful. So I was like, I'm only gonna do it once, and then I'm fucking done. And I was hoping he would take it back and edit it, just cut out most of it, and that's how it started. But it was just on a goof. I was like, I didn't even want to do it. I was like, I'll just film this shit. He's like, no, dude, you gotta do this.
Well, dude, you struck genius with it because it's perfect. It's hysterical.
Yeah, sure, go.
And I'll tell you what,
where it went. I'm sorry, I mean,
no, you're good. You're good. You're good.
There was a moment where Jay went from doing an impression of Loomis to it was a part of him. Yeah. And it would just come out. There was no need for like figuring out exactly what to say here or whatever. It just became a natural, like, I can do this with my fucking eyes closed now. And that was a moment too. It was like, oh yeah, we're gonna dig deep inside of this now. Because
I love all of that right there.
Yeah,
he's completely embodied Donald Pleasant. That's great.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, and it's funny, the Loomis is hysterical, but the Slender Man, the Subway sandwich, dude, that absolutely
the Subway sandwich is the best sandwich of all time. Of all time, when me feeling down the dirt, maybe me have some hot sauce, make me crack feel on fire. You know what me gonna do? Me gonna get on Subway sandwich. After some water, me gonna have some Subway sandwich. Yeah, like that was that came. I don't know where that like. That's how I talk to my dogs. Like that, that's the voice I use. Like it's my baby talk voice, I guess. Like, thank God I don't have kids, because if I did, I'm like, oh, you doing all that? I give them nightmares. But that's literally where it comes from. But that was just I told Mike about it, and I think I showed it. I was doing the Slender Man voice to him. He's like, dude, we should do that. That'd be funny as fuck. And that's how Slender Man started there.
That's awesome.
That's the one that gets me the most out of anything he does. Like, I'm used to all the other shit, but that one I will piss my pants filming that shit.
Dude, it's got to be hysterical, like filming that stuff. It's got to be.
It is, and it's usually when we get done, we're like, all right, that was either the stupidest thing we've ever fucking done, or it's going to be pure gold. And those are always the ones that seem to be good. You know what I mean? It's like that. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck we just filmed, dude. That might be the stinkiest piece of shit that anyone's ever filmed on camera. But then you put it out there and you're like, oh, okay, it's okay. People expect us to be stinky pieces of shit.
I know we've done some before, and I was like, I'm ashamed of myself, and I'm not saying.
Stephanie Johnson says the Halloween Resurrection trailer reaction video starting off with Michael sighing. That's a good one.
I heard that one.
Courtney Reed says the Slender Man infomercial is god tier. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I do remember. That was the first time that we introduced it. Yeah.
The Manscaped one?
The
Subway one.
Oh, the Manscaped one is funny too.
The Subway one was the first actual time, but the Manscaped one was the ad that we did. Yeah, I remember that.
I'm still pissed that Subway one didn't take off because I think that's the funniest thing we've ever fucking done.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's a great time.
But you guys are awesome, man. Like I owe you a big thank you. Never would have found any of that without you guys. So, I mean, and it's like the fact that you've built the community you've built, and that like all of these people, like even the people in the chat, like I see them talking about like their favorite of your videos and stuff from years ago. And I mean, like the fact that people can do that is really, really cool. And like, that's a testament to the success of what you guys has done, which I mean, you know, dressing up, getting drunk, making dick jokes while you talk about movies. Like, is there a better way to do it though?
No, man.
To be honest, is there?
It's like Alpha Betas from Revenge of the Nerds. It's always constant.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Real quick, let's go to the chat before we talk some Dream Warriors. Stacey 8 James says Pocky Challenge was a moment in history. I'm sure it was for Mike.
I'm sure especially my asshole. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mark Dorman says watching Mikey pop rocks after having a tooth pulled is always fun to go back to. I don't know if I remember that one.
I don't remember that either, but I know I remember having that tooth pulled, and if I ate Pop Rocks during that time, I fucking hate myself because that shit had to stuck.
That's awesome. Let's see here. James also says, I remember that Loomis reaching Michael basketball vid like it was yesterday. Yeah, that was a good one too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Stacy says your asshole's seen worse.
Yeah, from the other side. Yeah, it's seen a lot worse from Shawshank over here, but you know, from the inside, it didn't see it coming. You know what I mean?
Shawshank. John Baxter brings up a good one. Shot collar for Psychopath.
Oh, dude, I died at that one. That I could not. I was trying to maintain that character throughout. I laughed about it every time because he was like, because I could hear him breathing under the fucking mask, and he was starting to hyperventilate because he knew he was going to get shocked if he made too much noise, and it was making me die. But yeah, that was a good one. I remember that one.
We were just playing with in my house. There was a shot collar over here, and we were playing with it. My wife was like, "Come on, I was like, I'm not getting anywhere fucking near that. I've had my day with the shot collar. No
I've paid my dues. Yeah,
yeah, I know, right?
Feels like a crab is just squeezing your skin, like a crab, like literally just holds on to you. I don't know why it felt like that, but it does.
It sounds terrible.
It's awful.
Jonathan Nichols says Slender Man and Leatherface for president was amazing. Yeah, that's good.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Did you do that like close to the election?
We did. Yeah. So he's the one who watched it. Then he's the one we found it. It had one view. I loved it though.
All right, guys, let's do it. Let's talk some Dream Warriors.
Dream no more. Sorry, it's a reflex.
I know you have to do it right. So if I remember correctly, Jay, you're a big fan of Dream Warriors. Mike, you're a little more on the fence about it. Am I right?
Yeah,
he only does that because I don't like Scream as much as him. That's what it is.
Hey, I'm with you on that one though. Scream, I like the first one, but after one, I'm just kind of
that's how I am.
I can't do it.
Can I tell you guys something? I swear to God, it's not just because Shay loves it. I do that sometimes, but not tonight. Not here on your holy show in front of Christ and God.
This is like just a Raphael shit.
I fucking watched this last night, dude, and I was like, this movie sucks. And I'm just going to come out and say it. This movie sucks.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to get shit on. No, it doesn't suck.
I don't know.
Freddy's going to suck you down.
It's going to be like what happened to Joey, but it's going to be like Jay's Loomis that's just like sucking you into the or like no, it'll be the Leatherface. He'll be
don't
like
threaten me with a good time, buddy.
Like Leatherface bribing you with chili underneath the
chili never again.
I don't know. For this one, like it's funny because I used to think it was my favorite, and like the more and more I've gone back and watched it, the more and more I'm kind of just like, I'm really split on it because, like, I don't know, it's weird. What it's also talked about as a fan favorite, like. I know, like both Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp have said that they hear fans talk about Dream Warriors more than any other movie in the franchise. But there's also another camp of people that feel like Nightmare 3 is like the catalyst that like began the slow downfall of Freddy because of like how wild and out there it is. Like, why do you think this one is so much more popular than a lot of the other ones are? And it just seems to have a little bit more of a cult following than some of the other films.
That one's for Jay, who likes it.
Well, I think it was one of those movies that opened it up. What a lot of people that grew up later on and they got to experience Freddy, the MTV generation is what. I mean, I feel like Freddy Krueger. If you look at the first Nightmare on Elm Street and then you look at the second Nightmare on Elm Street, which I'm a huge. Actually, we both are. I think Nightmare 2 is extremely underrated and underappreciated. But those two films are very dark and they're very profane. You know, as far as like the murders and the kills that happen. Then when you get to the third one, you add more dark humor and you add more of the MTV-ish version of him. And I feel like that took it to a different level and it introduced a lot, maybe a different types of people to that character that would have otherwise said, nah, I don't want to watch that. That's a horror slasher. I'm not going to watch that. And, you know, that's good and bad. There's good and bad things, you know, for that. The character of Freddy Krueger grew in popularity and became a huge hit. And it continued the series. Without Nightmare 3, the series would have died. That's 100% accurate.
I agree with that.
At the same time, it has its downfall because it did make Freddy. By the time you get to Freddy's Dead, you know that motherfucker looks like a plastic piece of shit from Walgreens. Like he's just, you know, it's not even Freddy anymore. It's just, you know, he's a cartoon character. But I understand what they were going with Freddy 6. But yeah, I think there's a reason. There was something about it, like. It was so unique and different, and it was out there, and it was actually, and, you know, again, you got to credit, you know, Wes Craven wrote it, like it was from Wes Craven's mind. It was the dreamscape that he wanted, you know, and there was a lot of things cut from that movie that didn't even get put in.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he had a $20 million+ budget that they were like, that's too much. So who knows what we would have got to see if they had given him the money, or the money would have been given to the studio to make that movie. But yeah, dude, I think it's because it was just so different from the other two that had come before it that it resonated with people. I don't know.
Right.
That's my opinion.
I can agree with that. Miguel, where did you say this one fell for you? Because like part of like kind of a little bit of backstory on this, like the reason we started this Purely and Simply Evil show, because we have our other, like our main show, but Miguel wasn't really as much of a horror fan. So this was his like baptism by fire moment where I could just be like, here you go. Here's everything. Where did this one fall for you, Miguel?
Well, just to start off from that, yeah, this definitely was like a baptism by fire thing for me because from what I can remember whenever I was young was like Freddy used to be the one that would scar me for life. Like you guys talk about like how this was like a really good horror movie. This was a movie that would really like scar me. Like I would literally like turn my face away from like the DVD like cover because I was so fucking frightened of it. And I think like later on in life I found out like, you know, how cheesy horror movies can be, but also like I started appreciating the story in and of itself. So yeah, so right now I'm currently the only ones I've seen recently is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, and 2 and 1. And I would say this is probably like I was probably like second out of the 3 that I've seen. Unfortunately, like Freddy's Revenge is like last for me. Like I got Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, and then Freddy's Revenge. Mainly because of the theory that me and Brad had like at the end of our discussion of it not even happening, like it all being in a dream. I was like, oh my god, we're going back to that campy cliche or whatever. So I was kind of thrown off by that. But yeah, so Dream Warriors, I honestly thought it was like one of like the most peak 80s movie they probably had during that decade.
Yeah,
without a doubt in my mind. Yeah, from the soundtrack, from the acting to like the cinematography, every bit of it, and from like all of the really sweet like Freddy tropes, like whenever you got like Snakehead Freddy in the beginning of the movie, like every bit of that was so 80s, and I absolutely freaking loved it. So I'm really glad now that I can at least appreciate it now that I'm like fucking 25. But you know, it's better late than never, I guess, right?
That's it. That's a great point, man. The 80s part of it is like I think that may be it too. Like that reason it's so beloved is because it is from Dokken to the whole vibe of it. It's very fucking 80s,
Mhm.
you know?
Oh yeah.
Hey, have you guys heard, this is kind of off topic from 3, but have you guys heard about that theory where 2 is all just in Jesse's head and like the end was the beginning of his dream?
I don't think I've ever. That's an interesting theory, and that actually does make like I could go with that if they wanted to, if they want, because it's funny, Wes Craven hated that director, and the director hated Wes Craven, and there was a lot of bad blood between those two, and they like talk shit on each other in Never Sleep Again documentary, which is hilarious. But yeah, so I could see them doing, and Nightmare 2. Dude, it's so weird. Nightmare 2, it has like I think he aesthetically, Freddy looks awesome in Nightmare 2 with the hook nose and the eyes. He looks more like a witch. I hate it that the claws came through from the nails. I didn't like that whole thing. The glove was missing.
Yeah.
But
I said
as
that
far as
same
like
thing as well about him. Yeah.
As far as it just being a dream, I didn't. But that would be cool though if they had done that and Jesse had popped up in Nightmare 3 somewhere.
Right.
As a inmate or something, or not an inmate, but as a overnight
survivor
guest at
Freddy,
the asylum.
I was thinking that watching this last night, I was thinking like this is technically like a really old requel, right? I mean, because they ignore so much of 2, and Nancy comes back. This feels like one of the first requels where it just connects directly to the first one and fuck the guy who did the second one. So I thought that was pretty weird when I was watching it that way. And I think Nightmare 2 rules, by the way.
It definitely does. Even the whole thing with like the what was it gay? Was it not gay? With like the commentary of it, the whole like it's fun to like. It's just fun to like deep dive into that.
Yeah.
But
I love how gay it is.
I know, right?
It was by far, it was so many like like gay undertones in it. If you listen to our commentary, which by the way, shout out to our commentary, it was you could hear my voice and how much I'm just like, oh my fuck, of like how I could immediately tell when it came in, when and how they played it out, and like the whole like
there's a whole BDSM scene in the shower. Like I mean, it's like you can't just not see it.
Well, the gym teacher is what kills me because like, bro, as a teacher, when he finds the kid at the gay bar, I'm like, why would you bring him back to school? Like, why would you do that?
Exactly.
And then the whole when he gets attacked by balls thing, I'm like, this just like it hurts my heart and my brain and like everything deep down inside. Like, I don't. It's
that movie is like playing gay chicken with your eyeballs.
I
love it.
Well, and it's interesting because like that theory, like after we had watched it, I think it was on, I don't know if it was on Reddit or I'm not on Reddit all the time, but like it was because you could look at Freddy's Revenge as like, every 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 and Freddy's Revenge all kind of like tie into each other a little bit, even if it's really loosely. But Freddy's Revenge is almost like its own, like it's kind of in its own field. You know what I mean? It's a strange. It's really interesting the way that they set that up.
You could even look at Freddy's Revenge as something like if you look at something like the DCEU, Joker, is a separate movie, or the Batman that just came out with Robert Pattinson is not connected at all to the DCEU. So I feel like it's one of those standalone flicks that they decided to go out on a branch and try something different and new. And honestly, they could do a sequel just based on that storyline alone, which is cool because it opens itself up to multiple different takes on the character. And which is funny when you're bringing up Nightmare 3, I also thought it was hilarious that Wes Craven only came back to he would have directed it, I assume, but he was filming Deadly Friend. But he literally wanted to write the character because he wanted to kill the character off because he felt that the character does not deserve a series that's going to continue on. And unfortunately for him, it wound up making the series continue on because it was a huge success. So it's like, God damn, man, I tried to kill the fucker and he won't die. It's
like that. It's like Michael Myers with that Akkad little clause that they have in like every single movie where it's like, no matter what happens, Michael has to survive. Like you could blow him up and then like his little pinky is like at the end is just like, and it's like cut the credits.
It's breathing.
That's how I need Halloween ends to end. Is you just see like,
it becomes like liquid metal, like in T-1000.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you see that, and it's like, fuck the Akkad clause. All right, I guess we gotta watch another one. Yeah,
and then you can get the post-credit scene where it's Michael running like T-1000, where he's doing like the He's running down
the
street
Robert
like that.
Patrick run. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark says Nightmare 2 changed the way we clean our rooms. Touch me, baby.
Oof.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, dude, that's how you do it. Yeah, you have to close the drawer with the little bump with your ass.
Right.
Close the
Well,
grocery
and
drawer.
Rosalia brings up a good point. Mark Patton was bitter. He had even said it, Never Sleep Again. He was like, I wish that scene could be cut from my filmography. Like he can't stand it. It's like Dick Warlock with the slashing scene from Halloween 2, where because he hates that scene. It's kind of interesting. Stacy says Jesse's still one of the only male scream queens that'll always be dope. That's true too.
I love that. Yeah.
I honestly, I don't even.
Not a lot.
There's really not a lot like to name them off the top of your head.
Well, we'll find
I was
out.
literally going to say Justin Long
on
from Jeepers
October.
Creepers, but
Yeah, that's true.
Well.
Justin Long.
well, he died.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
that's fair.
Well, technically, his ghost came back in the second one, but
Yeah.
he floated around. But he's
I don't know if I've seen past the first one, to be honest, of Jeepers Creepers.
The second one was just baller though. I love the second one. Out of
yeah.
that was like one of the first horror movies I've seen with Jeepers Creepers too. And
Yeah,
that one
second
actually
one
frightened
I've
me
seen
pretty
more
well.
than
Yeah.
it was popcorn.
It was
movie.
it was
was fun.
It was a decapitation by his by his entire like wing, and when they're in the bus,
Oh,
because they're like stalking like a football team, and he takes
Yeah.
out one by like grabbing him with his wings and just decapitating, and he still
That
have
was
like the
cool.
body flailing around. I was like, bro, that's ingrained in my mind. I have told that to my therapist like 2 months ago, and he was like, where did that come from? Where did that come from? He's like, I don't know, man. Just it just popped in my head again.
Well, where it kind of lies for me with Dream Warriors, like it was directed by Chuck Russell, which I think was his directorial debut. Like
It was.
he
Yeah.
did the Scorpion King, he did the remake of the Blob. But what's interesting is it was written by a slew of people, like which I think is one of the reasons why it seems like a weird mess of tones and storylines for me. Like, watching it back, like especially these last couple of times. The thing that really struck me is like it's so fantastical and so weird, like so much more than any of the other movies, and they really went for like the magic and the dream powers. And like I like what you tweeted earlier, Mike, the Harry Potter X-Force thing, where it's just always the whole like I'm beautiful and I'm bad, like that whole it's just like so they just went really hard with all of that stuff, and it feels more fantasy, I think, than the rest of them. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. It just it does for me.
Oh yeah.
But I
cool.
like fantasy movies too.
Right.
Like, it's like fantasy horror, and I think that's cool shit. Like Legend, with Tim Curry is like almost like fantasy horror, and I did appreciate what they were trying to do with it, and the magic. They were like goddamn Power Rangers in horror movies. And
Right.
I just thought that
They really were.
Yeah, and you know what it was? Freddy Krueger scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, and you are correct, Miguel. Like it is, you both are. That it's one of those characters that terrify you. So it was really cool to see Nightmare 3, where you had the ability to fight back. Like you could be what you wanted to be in the dreams, and you had a possibility of beating him and having these fantastical supernatural powers and shit. I just thought that was really neat. And so yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. Like Nightmare 3. What can't
If you look on one of like the older covers, you'll like one of the older covers of Dream Warriors. It looks like a Power Ranger, but like it has Freddy like as like the main focus, and has like all the Dream Warriors like facing
I have that
about
poster,
to like, take them on. It's pretty much like a Power Rangers movie. And I like what you said, Jay, about like how it's like one of the first movies where like you can actually fight back, because that was like always the trope. Like how everyone in the movie theaters. I don't think you've seen like Scary Movie 2 or 3 where like the focus was on the Scream movies. And you had that lady just like screaming like at the theaters, like, oh, do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. We all have that thought where it's like, oh, you don't trip over that pencil or something like that. Or don't go in that door. He's in there. It's like one of those moments like, oh yes, finally a movie where we actually see like the people fighting back. But then Mike, when you say it's like X-Force, is like, well, I mean, they all die within like 5 seconds of actually fighting them back. So it is what it is.
Well, the worst thing to be, and this is why I'm on the other side of the fence. Again, I'm very aware of that I'm in the minority on hating this. And I don't hate this movie, but I'm in the minority on what I dislike. But like when they wake up, they're all like, we're going to go to sleep now, because we got to stop this guy who's been brutally murdering our friends. Like, okay. And then they go to sleep, and then they wake up and they're like, what do you do? I'm like, I just flips. And they're like, I have knives. And then the other guy's like, I like to bend chairs. And there's been like 25 minutes standing around here like, fucking dude, look what I can do. And like fucking show and tell. Yep. And then they hear something. He goes, I wonder who that is. It's fucking Fred Krueger, the guy you went to sleep to catch. Did you forget he's been murdering your fucking friends? I'm yelling at the screen. I just don't understand.
And the worst thing about that is Joey got the worst end of that deal. Like, I was like, you discovered your like fucking banshee power like later. Like, you should have been able to know that you could talk in your fucking dream. Like, and it would blow people away.
That's one of my least favorite.
Yeah, well, and Kincaid also, like, he's like, you've been a fucking chair that's clearly made out of like fucking Home Depot wood or metal, but yeah, whatever.
Well, the scene that I think I hate, like one of the worst scenes in the movie, is when, like Mike, what you were talking about, when they finally figure out that they have like powers in their dreams or whatever, and Nancy's like, "What can you do in your dream?" I know. And it's just like, what? How is this relevant? Like, what are we doing right now?
This is the weirdest AA meeting I've ever been
Dude,
to.
that's exactly what it was. It's like we all stood up. How we recovered.
Yeah.
What can you do now? I can mow my lawn without being hungover.
Well, it's almost like it almost feels like for me at least, I don't know if anybody else agrees, but it's like they couldn't tell a story with like just one main set of characters. Like you have what's going on with Patricia Arquette's character, and then you have Neil either trying to rip Nancy's clothes off or leading around John Saxton like he's a friggin' lost puppy. And plus then you have the Amanda Krueger, like House of a Thousand Maniacs thing, plus what's going on with the kids at the hospital and the hypnosil. Like, it's a lot, you know, it feels like there's a lot of main characters, and it gets like messier and messier as it goes on because you can't keep up with that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And let's just get it out of the way. Let's just talk about Neil, because I'm fucking mad right now. Like, I'm just
Neil looks like a guy that used to sell Encyclopedia Britannicas on QVC.
He looks like the shitty day manager at defunct Sears. Like, he's just the fucking worst. Like,
he's the assistant manager at Kmart.
Yeah.
I hate him so much. And they make him out to be some like super cool fucking dude. And it's like especially the scene I hate worse than anything else is when, first off, like you said, he's just trying to fuck Nancy the whole time. That's all
the entire movie.
And I don't care what you do. You can't put a white streak on her hair and call her old. No, 100%. The guy's a pervert.
Was she rogue?
100%. Yeah.
I know, right?
I had a bad dream. I woke up. I don't fucking know. I'm got a white
and for me, it even goes past Neil because, listen, dude, Weston Hills seems like the worst run facility in North America. Like, everybody there is a complete asshole for no reason. You've got Neil, again, who is like an utter tool. Dr. Sims, who's like the ultra jerk off. She's a terrible woman. And then you have the orderlies. The one orderly's trying to bang I'm beautiful and I'm bad. I forget what her name is. Taryn. It's just, and then, well, Max is
Jose
cool.
Canseco is what that guy looks like. That's what I like to call him.
Max is cool. He was Lawrence Fishburne was the exception. You know,
he was
a cool character, and he was kind
acted
of cold,
like someone that already put in his 2 weeks in, so he could care like
that's exactly what it was
about what's going on whatsoever in that hospital.
I'm gonna be extra nice because I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, even when Nancy goes back and he's like, "Nope, you're not going in there. You're not going to see him," and she's like, "It's gonna be my last time to say goodbye," or whatever, and he's like, "Okay, go, make it quick."
Fuck it, yeah.
You know what I mean? He just tries to be quick. And another thing about this, like, and we haven't even really brought this up yet, but this is also kind of one of the. Let me back up for a minute. One of the things that also kind of makes it like a double weird tonality in this movie is it's kind of the birthplace of the MTV Freddy stuff, like where he's starting to make jokes all the time and he's wisecracking a little bit more and he's calling everybody bitches all the time. And like there's a pretty distinct shift, honestly, coming from 2, because he's pretty dark in 2. Like some of the things he says and he does in 2 is pretty dark. But then what comes after Elm Street 3 is like, we're just gonna go full frontal nudity and just for, you know what I mean? We're just gonna forget what
me. Am I gonna see Freddy's dick? What?
God, we never saw Freddy's dick. We don't want to see Freddy's dick. Yeah, I want it.
Hopefully, if they remake it, Jason Blum, if you're listening, if you get the rights, man.
Oh my god!
Freddy's you imagine someone has a dream they're cooking hot dogs at like a wonderful barbecue, and then the camera and like the hot dog, he's like, "Ew, it looks gross," and then it's connected to someone, and the camera pans up, and Freddy's like, "Ballpark" or something.
I thought you were gonna say it was Ron Jeremy. And then it turns out to be having a pretty face. That's awesome.
Oh Blumhouse is like, write that shit down right now.
You see Jason Blum in the corner. He's like, holy crap.
We're going to use it. We're going to use it. Well, put it on the back burner.
And I believe Wes Craven wrote him. I saw a couple people mention that in the chat too, that Wes Craven wrote him to be very harsh and crude, but like they wanted to go in a different direction, like the more imaginative, like wacky. I don't know. And again, it's like the weird bridge between what was old Freddy and MTV Freddy. Like he's in this one, he's still kind of serious and scary at times, but at other times he almost kind of like you're almost rooting for Freddy in a sense because some of the characters are so out there and ridiculous, So it's really interesting.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly right. I mean, that's what Wes Craven, again, that was what he intended. He wanted to, I guess he had seen Nightmare 2 and thought it was terrible. He didn't like it, and he didn't even like the fact that they had done Nightmare 1.
Yeah.
And that ending that happened with the first one, he didn't want that to happen. So he wanted the series to be over, and he thought it was a good story. As far as the first one goes, let's end it. There doesn't need to be a series. So I'll come back and finally kill the fucker. And he had like a very, very dark, very, very different take on the characters. Mm-hmm. Nancy wasn't even a dream expert. She was just there. And Patricia Arquette only stayed a little bit of the time in the insane asylum. She had a dad. There was a lot of things that, Wes Craven wanted to do with that film and to kind of, I guess give his final opus with Freddy Krueger that they ultimately decided. I mean, look, the character of Freddy Krueger was so popular. There was no way they were going to ever get rid of him. They were like, Wes, thank you for giving us a couple of ideas. Now we're going to fire your ass and hire some people else that like can make him more MTV generational. So that's ultimately what happened. But yeah, I agree. I think that after the third one, they opened the floodgates. And as far as what we know, what people know of as Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger, they don't ever think of Freddy 1 and 2. They always think of things from 3 on. That's it.
Yep.
It's crazy. I actually like 4 better than 3. Like I find the more I've watched them, and I didn't feel that way in the beginning, but like watching them back to back now, I'm like, I like 4 so much.
4's good. 3. It's not as bad as people remember, but it's good.
Yeah.
I'm interested to go back in because we're doing 4 next, and I'm really interested to go back and watch 4 because I haven't honestly, man. I don't like if I'm just gonna put one on just like to hang out and like a lot of times like if I'm working on something for this or if I'm just doing something I'll put something on just to like how I go to Halloween 2 a lot. I love that movie, but it's also a movie that I can like I've seen it a million times, so it's like you know what's going on and you can just have it on in the background.
Yeah.
But like I go to the first 3 for that, but 4, 5, and 6 are kind of it's kind of a weird blur. So I'm curious to see what I think. On this next rewatch of them, and I'm really curious to see what you think, Miguel, because I'm just gonna take a drink and I'm not gonna spoil anything for you.
I about said because I'm pretty excited because like when we were talking about it and previewing like the whole Nightmare on Elm Street like series for this season, you like I kept hearing the word like MTV Freddy, and I was like, bro, I can't wait to see MTV Freddy at this point because honestly to God, I would love a good comedy if that's what I'm about to watch at this point. So like, yeah, I'm totally down for Nightmare on Elm Street 4, and from what I've heard, it's apparently really good.
Is it 4 when he's standing on the beach and he takes the shades and he's like,
yes, that's 4.
Like when he's like dancing on the beach or whatever, like that's awesome. Well, and Jay, you brought up something like for as popular as these movies were in the 80s and for as popular as the Freddy character was, like Dream Warriors had a budget of $4.6 million. And if you go back and watch Never Sleep Again, it seems like for as popular as the Elm Street movies were, they never had the budget to really take them to where they could be. You know what I mean? No. Like a lot of the, it was the same FX guys as a lot of them that were on 2 and 1 that came back for this one. And they talked about that a lot. Like there were so many effects in this movie that it was like that was like 80% of the shoot was just trying to get all those crazy effects shots in because it was so much like they couldn't keep up with what was going on.
Well, I think New Line was like extremely nervous about touching Nightmare 3 because again, the second one flopped. It didn't make them any money. They were like pretty much up shit creek without a paddle, and they were like, well, what are we going to do here? And they got Wes Craven to come back and at least pin it. And then that was able probably to pitch to the studio like, hey, we got Wes Craven to, he's going to at least write the scripts. But unfortunately they had producers on there that were like, hey, well, the people that were going to count the coins were like, this is going to cost $20 million. So we're going to have to make swaths as far as cuts go. And
Right.
that's what they did. And that's why, and it goes to your point, Brad, because I mean, when you do watch the movie, you do see it does feel like it kind of breaks down a little bit as it goes on, because they've had to make
Right.
significant cuts and changes to the script that otherwise it would have been a very cohesive movie all the way through. And you're like, man, this is a solid movie. But it's unfortunate, man, because I think a lot of studios, well, maybe not so much now, but back then they were extremely nervous about putting any type of real moolah into any type of horror movie, because they're like, where's the return? Are we going to get a return on that? So, but yeah, Wes Craven was thinking way outside the box. Like, he was doing like a goddamn funscape. Like, as far as, like, he even said that, I think he was talking about, like, he wanted to make it like a carnival ride of dreams and shit. And they were like, bitch, we ain't Universal. So no, you get what you get. And then he was like, all right, well, I guess you guys just give me my royalties, and that's how it goes. But
yeah, and even looking back at it, it does have a lot of effect shots. Like I think to like the opening scene especially, which I really, really enjoy. Like, even when she's pouring like the powder for the plaster, and like she's making the paper mache house, and she's taking the instant coffee by the tablespoonful, which makes you want to puke.
That reminds me of Mr. Bean when he takes the whole thing and he like puts milk in there and he like shakes it around.
Yeah. Well, and like even the makeup, like at that point, Robert Englund has always said he hated the makeup. Like, what did you think of the makeup in this one and how they handled that?
Like,
I think that I thought it was better in 2. I
Really?
say that like I thought the makeup was better in 2, man. I liked it. I thought he looked meaner. I thought he looked cooler in 2. Like, I didn't hate it.
Oh, you thought it was better in 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Like,
thought you said.
I thought you said you thought it was better in 3.
I know. I was like,
what you say?
No. Yeah, no, I loved it in 2. I loved it in 2. I thought 2 was like perfection. Like, but 3, it was. And I'll say it the entire time I watched that, I didn't once look at Freddy and think he looks like shit. You know what I mean?
No.
I do think that he looked good, but the effects for the most part, like when he rips his shirt open and they're like, nah, that's like that fishing game where you're like trying to catch the, you know what I'm talking about, with a little circle. Mm-hmm. That looked cool. When she pulls her arm out and it's like the wounds are like doing the same thing exactly. Yeah. Like
hungry hippos.
Yeah, baby shark. But dads will know that. But yeah, I thought the effects were great in this, except for Wizard Boy with his like magical.
I like that
magical
guy.
hands.
Yeah.
I just thought it looked like shit.
I don't know why. I think George R.R. Martin. When he was thin.
All electrical effects look like shit at that time, so you can't really get against him for that.
You also have the claymation when it's like the Freddy puppet like dangling off the wall, and it like melts into like him, and he drops and whatever else. But the opening is cool because you get the is it? I don't remember if it's in the opening where the pig like jumps off the table.
It's the opening. Its mouth opens up. It's the very beginning of the movie. Yeah.
Well, even before that, her mom runs into the room and she's like, "You're gonna wake the whole neighborhood." And she's got the guy, and he's like, "Where's the bourbon?" Like, literally all she's worried about is getting downstairs so she could like bone this dude.
Try to get my whiskey dick on, Carla.
But you know what? You're so right, Brad. There was something about the beginning of this movie that was so enticing.
I love it,
and it brought you in. Like when I first watched it, was one of those. Like the music, the way that the way they were shooting it, and the slow, she's like putting everything together with the to make the house and the plaster and stuff. I was like, oh my god, this was like it was amazing, and it was totally different from the first 2. Exactly. It was just it's a different type of movie, man. I mean, I agree with you 100%. The beginning of that movie really pulls people in.
If I could tell you this movie in parts, though, like the beginning's cool and it's like a nostalgic thing to watch. And I go back and watch it now, and even the stuff that I really loved back then, I'm like, I get kind of bored through. I'm like, Jesus Christ, how long are we gonna watch? Like, fucking, are we gonna watch her build the whole goddamn house now? Like, what the fuck? Yeah. Let's go. But I just because I've seen it before. Upon the first time, though, and then like, so I think that in the first act, when it gets up to the hospital, I thought it was really janky as fuck, honestly. And the music I thought was terrible. Like I thought the music up to that point was like ding, 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 and all this shit. I'm like, God bless, this is awful. And then finally, when they get to like the group meeting and you meet Kincaid and all these kids for the first time, and shit starts to get fucked up, then I thought the movie got good. And then when it got really fucking good, some of the best Freddy we've ever gotten is the greatest death of maybe the entire series when he dreamwalks the guy. That was probably the best effects of this movie too. The way that you could feel your veins getting pulled out of your arms and legs, and then the effect of Freddy standing on top and cutting it. That may have been the best scene from the whole series. And I think, in my estimation, that's just my personal opinion, which I'm wrong on because, again, I'm in the minority. I think that's why people look back on this movie so fondly, is because it had some of the best moments of the entire franchise. But I just thought as a movie, and especially we'll wait till we get to that, when you get to the junkyard shit and the ending, I just thought it was a hot piece of shit at that point.
That's garbage.
Mixed with genius, you know?
That like that tendon shot when he was pulling him up by the tendons and puppeteering him. That god damn, because like when he's walking down the hallway and the camera zooms in on his feet. Why are you doing that shit for? Like, I was like, I already get the idea. Like he's puppeteering him. I don't need to see the detail.
Everybody that watches that reacts like John Taffer when he walks into a dirty bar. What the fuck? Like,
well, and that's one of the you had mentioned like the different acts of the movie, like that's the moment where I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Like it picks up a little bit from where, because I think what happens is you have the opening, which is awesome. One of my favorite moments in the entire franchise is there's a moment when Patricia Arquette is holding the little girl that's like, Freddy's home and whatever. And it's like the cool dream thing. And they've done it before where she's running down the hallway, but she's not getting anywhere. And it's like the hallway is like stretching. There's a moment when Freddy runs around the corner and like, it's not slow-mo, but it's like he runs around the corner and you see him kind of like you kind of see him smile and it's his silhouette. And he's chasing her. And it's like just before he swipes, she gets away. Yeah. So that's cool. But like, I feel like after that opening, they just try to make you care about the characters. And like, that's like your intro, but it's not. It's kind of a lower point of the movie for me. You don't care until that moment where you get the puppeteer kid, you know.
It's so intense, man. It's haunting.
It is. It really
as Jamie Lee Curtis would say, it gives you, really good trauma. It's trauma.
And to be honest with you, the only characters that I cared about in the entire fucking movie was I thought Kincaid was awesome. I did like Kincaid a lot. Yeah. I think that his character really could have been explored more. I didn't care about Joey. Joey was going to get banged by a hot blonde chick nurse. I don't fucking care. I mean, she was already like floating.
Right.
So he's got it made. And then I liked Nancy and John. Well, and John Saxton. I thought that those three characters were really cool. But
John Saxton's character is probably the one that I felt. Sorry, Jay. That I felt made more sense after like from the first movie. Like he's the one that was like he's just a drunken sheriff. Like he just went through some shit. Like he lost his wife and he almost lost his daughter. And now his daughter is actually like a whole like drunken like psychiatrist or whatever. So like what's he got left in this world?
I kind of get you because, if they had explored that character a little bit more and maybe expanded it because, he lost his job too. You got to imagine this guy was the sheriff of a town. He was, moderately successful. He had a decent working relationship with the town and he saw some crazy ass shit. He saw his fucking wife sucked down into a goddamn bed and then eaten by dream demons. And now he's a security guard working at fucking Big Lots. And what am I going to do? If you wanted to if the movie had focused more on that guy, like a reluctant hero and like really turned the whole movie on him, I think you'd had a cool ass No Country for Old Men kind of thing meets Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, but they bitched him out so bad. The moment Neil from Kohl's fucking, like you said, managerial department store comes in and punks out fucking John Saxton. Are you kidding me? He walks in there. He's like, hang on, I'll be right back. It's like, hi, I'm Neil. Now we've met. I don't know if you care about her, but I do. And then John's like, okay, I'll go to the junkyard with you. I was like, oh, eat a dick, dude. And then later on, when John Saxton goes to try to find the keys and he's like, we're having a burial. Get your dirt shoes on or some shit. Like whatever the fuck dumb shit Neil fucking says. I'm like, fuck you, Neil. Suck a dick, dude. Get out of my face. Like John Saxton would have fucking ruined his face.
He would have,
on that
in
day.
Real life, yeah. If Neil looks he auditioned for Perfect Stranger for Balky and got turned down.
Yeah. Dude, when we were talking about the FX shots earlier, you know what's aged really, really poorly is the moment when they're fighting Nancy. And like Nancy says, or no, they're not Nancy. They're fighting Freddy, and Nancy's like, you know, oh, he's never been this strong, and you know, he lifts her up by the shirt. He lifts up his shirt, and he's like, you know, the souls of the children give me strength. But then it cuts back to John Saxton or whatever. When his skeleton comes up, dude, the skeleton looks terrible.
I was gonna mention like that was like one of those moments where it's like, yeah, that's 80s VFX,
like,
but it's like so terrible. Like it's hard to like not watch that.
Well, the stop animation they used in the junkyard scene was very reminiscent of what they did in something like Clash of the Titans. If you remember the early 80s, it was exact. I don't know if the guy that did the scene was the guy that worked on that scene, but it's exactly the same thing where Freddy's bones come back and fight. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, we were on a roller coaster of cool, and then this shit just happened. Like, did we?
Yeah, it's like now all of a sudden he can possess his own dead body. I was like, okay, new skill level achieved right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so he was already allowed. Like, so he could have like, okay, so like the mythology just took a shit because it's like, all right, you can only exist in the dreams, but somehow you're able to possess your dead bones if someone fucks with them and get back in the real world. Why don't you just go around as a goddamn skeleton and kill people? And then, you know, and that's what your backup is in the dream world.
And that's what got me in like Freddy's Revenge was when like that's where I kind of figured like that whole thing was a dream where the theory was like kind of coming into place. Because the second he like ripped out of old boy's body, I was like, wait, Freddy can do that now? Like, did he like pick something up from Nancy? Like, oh shit, I can actually come into the real world again.
Dude, it's the 80s. Anything goes.
Yeah, people talk shit about Halloween, like, oh, with the timelines, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bitch, have you watched Nightmare on Elm Street? All of a sudden, this girl walks in. She's like, I can pull people into my dreams. I've been doing it my whole life. It's no big deal. Like,
yeah, they invent powers as they go.
Yeah, like everything changed. There are no rules. It's like that Little Caesars commercial where the guy walks in. They're like, there are no rules, and he takes off his shirt, and they're like, put your shirt back on. He's like, there are some rules.
I remember that.
This is franchise. Yeah, that was a great commercial.
You know what else is always really another thing that's always really bothered me about this movie, and it's a double-edged sword because I really like Nancy. Like honestly, even with the Halloween 2018 timeline stuff, like I love my Laurie Strode, but honestly, like if we're arguing who is the best, Mike, you might disagree with me on this, but if we're arguing who's the best final girl, I gotta go with Nancy. You might go with Sydney, but I gotta go with Nancy.
I go with a few people before Nancy. That's just me, though. I'm fucked up about that. I don't want to say what I'm thinking because it's too mean. She just has a face I don't like. So I'll just leave it at
Nancy?
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Well,
that's fair.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't know whether to kiss your future. Hey.
What? Oh, no. Freddy's back?
No.
Shit. I just did not think. I thought she was terrible in this movie, dude. I just really do. I can't help it. I know it's unlike.
I thought the same thing when her first introduction. Whenever Patricia was like freaking out in front of Lawrence and and just shanked his fucking arm, and he was like, "Freddy's gonna come get me," and then all of a sudden she like peeps up, like floating through the fucking door, just like Freddy Krueger. I was like, where the fuck did you come from? All of a sudden, you have a PhD in like dreams. Like, where did this go,
dude? No, exactly. They didn't explain why she was all of a sudden like the expert on shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what do you mean? Where'd you go? Like Arizona State University? Did you go online and get a fake?
Like all of a sudden, she's taken like pills, and automatically that gives you like a PhD in like psychology or whatever, and that's all she needs to control people's dreams.
I just felt like she's never had a personality in any of these movies. Like she's likable and like whatever, but like what personality? What scene did she chew? Like what moment was there where she was like, I've had enough of this fucking Freddy Krueger? Like she was always just like, oh no, Freddy, shit. Like I never saw her do anything.
The only reason I say that, and I don't really think about it with this one because this, we'll get to that in a minute. Guardian says she went to DeVry University.
The South Harmon Institute of Technology.
That sounds great.
Our mascot's the shit sandwiches.
Shit.
What?
JT, what's going on, man? He says Nancy has zero personality. Oh shit!
And 3 exclamation points. That's a statement right there, man.
Well, I say that she's the best solely because of the first one. Like, I don't. In this one, I think she kind of sucks, to be honest. But the first one, at least she did like fight back. I feel like honestly,
it was a whole Home Alone scene for you, wasn't it?
It kind of was.
Where
like
she
really
prepped the house. Yeah,
that's why I say it, because like Laurie Strode, like everything she did in and I'm talking the original, not 18, but like in the original,
she had no personality either up till the end. You're right.
She really didn't, and it was all kind of she was just reacting to what was happening. The keys, like she's just reacting to everything that's happening. You know, Nancy at least like thought of a way to try to stop him, which you could argue that I guess Sydney would do the same thing too.
Well, she's not a final girl, but I swear to God, the final girl. I know these are totally different movies, but the best final girl that's a badass that actually like does something and like can take care of herself is goddamn Ellen Ripley from Alien.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would agree.
Hands down.
Yep.
Like she's reliable, she's resourceful, she's badass, and she's sexy in granny panties. And I don't give a fuck who you are. And that's the fact, Jack.
Yeah. Or like Vanessa said, Sarah Connor too. Like
Sarah Connor.
Girls, you know?
Yeah. But as far as like the old school horror movies, I don't know. I couldn't. Yeah. I like Nancy too. But I agree with you, bro. The first time you see her, she is very much exactly what Wes Craven was going for. The girl next door that has to overcome this extreme crazy demon that's trying to kill people through her dreams, and her friends are dying. But by the third one, it's like, all right, it's a little old news now. And like Miguel said, where the fuck did you get like a PhD in dreams? And then you can like you're Charles Xavier.
She was a young hot shot trying to try experiments.
She really was pretty much like the 80s, like Charles Xavier, like just handling her little bit of X-Force. I was like,
well, and it's funny, like
we'll go with that.
Have you ever realized we don't learn a single damn thing about what happened to Nancy after the events of Elm Street 1? Like, the weird ending is just completely like where her mom is like, whoop, like just sucked through the window. It's glossed over. We know nothing about her. Then apparently she's this weird dream doctor. Again, she got her degree from DeVry, whatever. Her mom died suddenly in her sleep. They do say that. Her dad's a drunk, and she takes Hypnosil, which I've always thought Hypnosil sounded like a terrible band from the 70s that had like a one-hit wonder. It does. Like, you know, I mean, we just, I feel like her character didn't have as much impact as it could have because it's just like, and Nancy's back.
Yeah. And what the fuck does she do in Dream World? I mean, what was her power?
That was not said. Yeah, wasn't it?
Right.
I guess you could pull things back into reality, I guess. You could go on that camp or whatever. I don't freaking know. It would have been nice to know what her power was, at least. I don't confirm the X-Force.
Her power was stupid catchphrases. What can you do in your dream? Or the moment that also kills me.
She was fucking Cerebro.
Oh, yeah.
when Joey has his when he screams at the end, she's like, "It's over. He's gone." And I'm like, are you kidding me? You home alone to your house, and then you come back through all of this crap, and you think that Joey yelling took Freddy like,
dude, when I was a kid and I watched that ending scene with John Saxton and her, I'm like, bitch, you serious? There's no way. There's no way that you didn't know. You're supposed to be like this fucking, like you're a dream expert, and you know that there, you know, and
then he comes in with this terrible effects of like,
hi,
honey, I'm crossing over.
It's over now. Come give Daddy a hug.
Oh my
God.
What? Both of their deaths
before I go to heaven.
Both of their deaths are so meaningless.
It
kills me because it's like two of the most iconic characters of the franchise, and like even when they finally defeat Freddy, like it all feels, the whole ending of the movie almost feels really unearned for me. Like I think the most emotional moment is when Patricia Arquette is holding her character and she's like, "I'm gonna dream you into a lovely place, a wonderful place." You know what I mean? Like that was pretty. It was pretty genuine, but like.
Oh, I forgot she was in the movie at that point. I'm like, oh, she was in this? Fuck, I forgot. We forgot about it. Really.
Well, you know, it's really it's fun. I mean, because again, you know, in today's world, we have like release the Snyder cut, the Schumacher cut, and things like that. I wish there was a Craven cut of Nightmare 3. I wish they had filmed something because those characters were written completely differently. And you know, the fact is, Nancy, as far you know, the Craven script was. She didn't kill him with holy water or whatever. She stabbed him with his own fucking glove, and then I guess she's you know, she ends the day as the you know, the hero, and they cut all that out because they were like, you know, well, you know, we're gonna pass this on to Patricia Arquette, but Patricia Arquette after the third one's like, nah, fuck that. I got what I wanted from the third movie, so I'm not coming back. So they had to recast her, but
was it Tuesday?
But it's still good. But at the end of the day, Nightmare 3 is to me is a very, very significant special movie in the Nightmare series. Of all the Nightmare movies that you can watch, Nightmare 3 always will be one of those movies that I think a lot of people will go back and watch again and again. I mean, even if you don't like it, you'll watch it again and again. Because there's something about it that's alluring and it draws you in. And it's got a great soundtrack. And to be honest with you, like the actors, they do a really good job with the parts they're given. I mean, maybe it's not written as well as we wish they were written, but they still do a really good job. And again, going back to Mike and Brad's point, it's very 80s overall. It's an 80s movie, and it's like a time capsule of an 80s movie, and it's great.
One thing that we didn't talk about is what did you guys think of the whole House of a Thousand Maniacs? She was raped, however many times, the Amanda Krueger thing. It was cool. That was one of the things that I actually did really, really like. I hated that Neil was kind of our attachment to that.
The motherfucker was at a funeral. He was at a funeral and goes, "Oh, there's that fucking nun," and just runs away. And then they find him talking.
She disappeared.
And like, you got all these dead kids under his supervision dying.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of a sudden this dude's acting crazy. He should have been arrested right fucking there. Like, no,
right.
But that story was cool as shit, man. And they even go further in the future movies where they actually kind of show that moment happening. How much of a cooler origin story is that for Fred Krueger than what they tried to do like with the reboot or anything, where he's like, is he child molester?
You know what's funny is that John Saxton, one of the scripts that he wrote was that he was going to have Freddy Krueger be innocent, and like Charles Manson was the one that had actually killed these kids, and that Freddy Krueger was innocent the entire time, but admitted under pressure that he had done it and had come back for vengeance, and that's why. And I'm like, I'm not good with that because that's kind of fucked up. That's weird.
I actually kind of like that, and that was something.
If you're gonna reboot the whole series, I'd be down with that, but not like in the particular, like the third movie and doing it like Freddy was already established by that point.
If you want to make him a superhero who's killing assholes, then that would be pretty cool. But like,
that'd be dope.
But he kills the kids. He kills the kids as vengeance because he does get burned alive. Right. So that was Saxton's idea.
Yeah.
But
fucking Platinum Dune stole it.
That was actually something that I wish the remake would have had the balls to do.
Yeah,
I was like, this is kind of cool. Like they killed an innocent man, and this is his revenge. Like he really didn't do any of that stuff, and this is his version of getting back at them for that. And then right at the end, they were like, "Nope, never mind, he did it." I was like,
10 minutes later, he's like, "Nancy, I remember being." Oh, I'm not gonna go there because that's disgusting. But yeah,
I know, yeah, dude, they go all out with the like.
But you're right. If the reboot had done that, though, it would have been perfect. I think not perfect, but it would have at least like separated itself from the Robert Englund character and created its own new mythology. Right. The problem is what they did with the remake was it was just terrible special effects. First off, you take off the practical effects for the makeup. It's terrible. It's awful. He looks like a burnt weasel on Thanksgiving. I don't like it at all. But beyond that, the storyline was not that gripping. I was like, you got to do something new. You got to do something different. You got to at least go out on your own trail. Yeah. And they never tried. They never even did anything different. But that idea, the Manson thing, working that whole idea in, would at least have given that movie its own identity. I mean, not everyone's going to love it, but at least you'll be like, hey, man, that Nightmare remake, that's fucking crazy.
Well, that twist probably would have been talked about for a while. Like, it'd be one of the most talked about twists in horror genre, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And John Saxton, I don't know if he wrote a full script, but it was at least like a treatment.
Yeah, he did a treatment. Yeah.
A prequel, right? I don't know. I think if you're gonna remake Elm Street, I think I would almost like to see. I don't know. I go back and forth on whether I'd like it as a movie or as a TV show. But I think it would be kind of cool to get a prequel where it's like you could almost formulate it as like a murder mystery, like whodunit type thing. Like the small town, kids are going missing. Like it's just this whole thing. And then in like the season finale, or in like at the end of that prequel film is when the parents find him in the boiler room and they burn him alive. And maybe like in the post-credit scene or in the final scene of that film is when you get like full on Ghost Freddy for the first time. Like I think that's an interesting way to do it.
I think you got to go that or the complete opposite of that. Whereas like the movie comes on and it's just like, and I think I would actually use the storyline from 3 from Amanda Krueger, where like you could even like bring it up, have some badass song playing in the background, and have some like literal like words pop down. It's like, this chick was she was raped by like 1,000 maniacs, and now this
have
guy
Nickelback sing about it.
Yeah, there's rumors that this guy haunts fucking dreams, and then you have a new fucking group of people, and then all of a sudden they start having bad dreams, and then you don't have to deal with the origin. Like fucking Freddy, here we go. Let's go with this shit. Like
you have the Creed Nickelback storyline going on.
There it is.
the mixtape going on in the background.
That's always the thing though. Like if you look at movies like they always run into these problems like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. They always have to do the origin. It's like we already know where they are, like who they are and where they come from. Like sometimes you just want to get into the meat and potatoes. Like, let's give like a 2-second thing and then let's jump into the movie. Like, I mean, you're exactly right. If I were a director for a Nightmare reboot, I'd be like, no, I don't need to go back and do the whole fucking thing. We'll do a brief little thing. They kind of did this with Friday the 13th in 2009. They gave a very, very brief intro to Jason. And I think it was brilliant. I really do. I think that the Friday the 13th remake was really good.
Yes.
And I think they did an awesome job reintroducing Jason. That's what they should do with Freddy. You don't need to do a whole elaborate bullshit thing, with the special effects and the FX to make him look like a burnt weasel. You just do the fucking movie. 2 minutes, and now we're here.
But a prequel I do like too. It's one or the other for me. Either you go deep into it and you make a prequel, or you go full on fuck it all. Yeah. Let's just this Freddy Krueger. Here we go. People are gonna get fucked up.
Like Jason Blum has said about he wants to bring back Robert Englund for another one. And I'm in the camp where I'm like, dude, I love Robert Englund and I love what he brought to that character, but like cast somebody new, cast a really unknown actor. It's probably too on the nose, but like the dude who plays Vecna, I forget what his name is.
Oh, dude, that guy would be great. Yes,
dude,
that guy.
I feel like you could find a young, relatively new, unknown actor that could bring a lot of life to Freddy. I feel like bringing Robert Englund back is just going to bring you into the same thing that everybody talks about anyways. It's like, how do we move on from Robert Englund? How do we move on from Wes Craven and like how do you do what Wes Craven did and do that justice, but like at least still bring it into another realm, you know what I mean? And I don't know.
I 100% agree. I think the only way you bring Englund back is if he passes the torch in that film. You show Englund for a little bit, and then you do the Freddy's 2 plot, and then he takes over a body, and then that's your new Freddy. So you get the best of both worlds, but you can still make future movies. Englund's going to do 2 movies tops, and then you're in a hole. We might as well move forward, like you said.
I agree.
I would go with I swear to God, I don't know if you guys, Dane DeHaan. I think Dane DeHaan would do an incredible job as Freddy Krueger. If you cast that guy right now as Freddy Krueger, forget Robert Englund. The thing about Robert Englund is his time has passed. This guy has literally done 8 movies with Freddy Krueger. I mean, if you include Freddy versus Jason, he's done 8 movies. The fact is, he even said himself that he didn't think that the Nightmare on Elm Street remake was bad, but he said it was also a bad timing. I think the movie was bad. But he said, I guess because of PR reasons, he said they had just announced the DVD of the Robert Englund Nightmare on Elm Street, the first 7, when that movie was coming out. So a whole new generation was introduced to the Robert Englund Freddy Krueger and not the Jackie Earle Haley. And Jackie Earle Haley is a good, he was a great actor. He is a good actor. I think he got unfairly treated, by fans after the movie came out. He did his best. It just wasn't, Robert Englund. What I would do, what you got to separate completely. You got to cut it off at the nutsack with Robert Englund. You got to go on your own, and I would cast I would cast Dane DeHaan. Like I said, if you look at Dane DeHaan in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, when he was the Green Goblin, when he was losing his fucking mind, and his shit's all melty and stuff, and he's all like nasty. I was like, that's how you should make him right away in the movie, where he's this nasty goddamn gardener or whatever you want to make him, and then atrocious things that happen, and then he becomes. I think Dane DeHaan could pull that off ultimately, but I think ultimately you gotta say goodbye to Robert Englund.
Guys, I'm gonna be back in 1 second. I gotta pee so bad. We have big bladders. You've been watching the show. This is bound to happen. Good. I thought I could hold on.
I'm glad you said it because I gotta go pee.
And then I'm like, oh man, I gotta fucking piss, dude.
Well, listen, here's what we'll do. You go pee, and then Jay can go pee, and then I'm gonna go to another beer and probably pee, and then I'll come back.
Okay.
I like
it. We'll take shifts here.
Miguel, do you have to shit?
No, I think I'm good. I think I prepped for this show pretty well, actually.
All right, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. If you have number one,
Stay
number two.
tuned. Will Miguel P.
Let's go over to the chat real quick.
Right,
See what you
sure.
guys are saying. You guys are moving, by the way, and we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you are new, welcome, and please be sure to leave this episode a like. I saw one in a second that I wanted to bring up. Where the hell did it go? Stacy says Jake Gyllenhaal is Freddy.
Fuck it.
Dude, I don't know about that.
He's pretty versatile.
Could you-
It might work. I don't know.
Could you imagine?
In like Nightcrawler.
Have you seen him in Nightcrawler? I was gonna say
Oh, dude,
Nightcrawler.
yeah. Yeah, he was like in Nightcrawler. He was really weird, but I mean, first off, that budget would be a goddamn.
Oh my god!
To get him to be Freddy Krueger,
I know it would be like 60% of the budget would just
that
be
would
going
be
to
it.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Well, we can't really do much else. We have to do this on a stage.
Glenn says The Rock is for dude. They're casting The Rock and everything else, anyways. Could you imagine? He'd be like,
How about that? Fuck a budget. You're automatically making some income from that fucking movie if The Rock's in it.
The Rock, yeah, it's Freddy.
Yeah, that's a
What are
solidified
you
$1
dreaming?
million
It
box
doesn't
office.
matter what you're dreaming.
Zombie says Will Smith is Freddy. He wouldn't even need the glove. He would just like,
Yeah.
just smack everybody.
He's already
Like, that'd
already
be-
practiced.
Oh yeah,
that'd
for
be
sure.
His entire thing. Michael says it's cool though. Dahan would slay us, Freddy. Dude, Jay, I'm with you on that one, man.
I think he would. I think he would, man.
I knew
think
as soon as
that
you
could be
mentioned
pretty cool.
Dion, I was like, oh, he got that from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like it
Yeah.
had to come from that, yeah.
Well,
So
yeah. because if you
I
look
think
at that
Dion
movie-
could do a good job.
Oh, dude, yeah. I think that well, you know, if you look at Dane DeHaan overall, like I just think, like you guys have seen Chronicle, right?
Yes.
When he starts
Yeah.
losing his mind, and that was the
Yeah.
first time I'd ever seen Dane DeHaan ever, and I didn't even know who he was. And then I watched that movie, and then I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I was like, there's something about that guy. You know, obviously the person in real life is not like this, but there's something like slimy and kind of like off-putting about his character that he plays in these movies, even when he's trying to be like sympathetic. You're like, I don't give a fuck, man. You're kind of nasty.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about you I don't trust. And I could see that guy doing a role like Freddy Krueger, and you'd be like, ooh, especially if they wanted to go back and do like a quick little, you know, if he was like, you know, a gardener and then he was making friends with
Right.
kids,
Right.
I'd be like, yeah, nobody in their right mind would trust that motherfucker because that guy
Yeah.
looks like he just got out on parole like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Jack says, I was excited about Freddy being innocent in the reboot and was so disappointed when they ruined it. Well, listen, for me, it's like I was kind of disappointed too because they ran with it for like 95% of the movie. And in like the last 15 minutes, it was like, never mind. Like,
Yeah.
It was like you did it
threw it
twist.
away.
That was
Like you did one of the greatest twists, and then you ruined it with another twist. And I was like, oh
Mhm.
fuck, here we go. So there you go.
Yeah.
So
I-
you have the
yeah.
opportunity, then you fucked it.
Yeah, because well, you know, Jackie Earle Haley is a great actor, and he definitely brought in that role was a very you were empathetic. You were like, oh man, this guy is falsely accused, or at least you thought when you're watching the remake, and you're like,
Yeah.
no, they're like, no, he really did this shit. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you got
Yeah.
me built up on emotions that aren't true. Like,
I know, right? Stephanie says that remake, dude, besides Jackie Earle Haley, the rest of crap. I agree. Honestly, I kind of feel like I've always thought Jackie Earle Haley was a decent Freddy in a bad movie.
I agree.
I feel like he did a decent job other than, you know, I mean, we're all from Kentucky. Like he looked like he went out and got like mud and clay and just like,
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
and just like warmed
Yeah.
it and then like stuck it on his face. Like it just doesn't, I don't know. I don't know.
It didn't work.
It just didn't, man. It did not. Slasher Freg, excuse me, says if they did another Freddy film, they should bring back Alice.
Ooh, I don't know. That's an interesting.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I didn't really give a shit about Alice one way or the other. So
I think I disagree with that. Andy Jones says, I hate when writers feel the need to explain origins of the villains. They lose their mystique. Less you know, the scarier.
Well, I mean, if it's concerning like Michael Myers, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
And I would agree,
Yeah.
you know, I would agree on certain certain characters, definitely the less you know, the better it is. But overall, you know, Freddy Krueger was a known pedophile. He was a known criminal
Right.
villain in life. And then he became worse when he died. So that doesn't really work as far as he didn't really have mystique. He was just a disgusting demon that just survived and preyed on the innocent. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's my opinion. I don't know if it's something like a blank slate like Michael Myers is super scary because you're like, what the fuck made that goddamn kid snap?
Right.
He didn't get the right kind of candy corn. What the hell?
Yeah.
You know the character I'd like to see come back is the Karate Kid from 4. Dramarama Kid, you know. That was one of my favorite characters, man. Great hair. Awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome. Inky the Alien says more final girls need to do some booby trapping for their slashers.
Mm-hmm. There has been some big boobies.
I was somewhere. I was just on boobies. Like you said boobies, and I was like, oh, booby traps.
Your tits are so juicy, bro.
Oh,
boobies are traps, right?
Booby trapping.
Yeah,
I
like
was literally thinking like breasts and trap it. I was like, I don't what.
Jesus,
oh my god, I was the same way. I was. That's why I said your tits are so juicy,
it took me
bro.
a second.
Yeah, you say boobies to a group of 4 dudes, and we're all like,
boobs, man.
Oops.
Talking about,
I'll be back.
Talking about final girls. Zombie says, or Friday the 13th, the telepathic girl. Oh god. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Is that from? That's which Friday is she, Mike? Telepathic girl. Is that New Blood?
7. I think 7. Yeah, I think New Blood.
Yeah, dude. When she's like off-brand 11. She's like the Walmart brand 11 from Stranger Things. She's just like
Walmart brand.
Which it ends up cool. Like I used to hate. I still hate that they brought telekinesis into it, and the opening was just so dumb. But it ends up cool because like you were talking about like with Dream Warriors where they can actually fight back. This girl could actually fight back against Jason. So you had like all this crazy shit happening in the house, you know. But yeah, it's like you can only do that in the 80s. You bring telekinesis in now, and it's like, hey.
Yeah,
no.
I don't know. It's working well at Stranger Things. I think that's just
true.
nostalgia, though, pretty much.
Yeah. Jack says, I thought the whole nun, / Amanda Krueger thing was totally useless.
That's a hot take. I'm not going to lie.
It is a hot take. I think, for me at least, like, I think you needed something. They needed something to help propel Freddy's story forward in that one, because I mean you had one where we kind of got a backstory, you had 2 where
nothing,
2 didn't really add all that much to his backstory, at least, you know what I mean.
Yeah, they just changed everything. They're like, fuck that movie, you know. They just made new rules. And
and like we talked about earlier, 2 is basically just to you know what I mean, to the director anyways, or to Wes Craven from that director. So I don't know. Fruit Loops says Fruit Loops are us, excuse me. Says, have to say, Sydney, she would go in danger 3 through 5. Go into danger. You mean in Scream 3 through 5?
Yeah, I think as far as final girls, she was pretty badass in those movies. Yeah, I agree.
I listen. When it comes to the final girl thing, like I could go anyways. Like people who say Lori, I'm like, okay, cool. People who say Nancy, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It could really go either way for me. I mean, I don't know. Stephanie says, Jamie and Rachel is a better final girl than Lori. Too bad they did both characters wrong. Rachel's hit or miss for me. I don't know. Honestly, I like Rachel in 5 better than I like Rachel in 4, which is probably a super hot take because 5 is garbage, especially Tina.
Brad's like, Rachel, you're such a prude. Jeez. You never know what you want if you don't put out Rachel. Come on.
Yeah. You love Tina, don't you? You're a big Tina.
I swear to God. If you put Tina and Neil in just a room, I would burn it. I would light it on fire.
Vanessa, what's up, Vanessa? There are fable stories with mirrors catching / trapping evil, so it makes sense to me.
I think that
I think I missed what she was talking about. I know there's a lot of people.
That was back during the end of Nightmare 3 that we were talking about when they're in that situation.
Got you.
I think. By the way, bitching about it.
We didn't even mention this. What's your favorite death? Both of you from Elm Street 3. Favorite death scene?
Oh man, it did have. It's definitely the the pulling it off and then Freddy being up in the sky or whatever. But Nightmare has. I I would actually argue, I think Nightmare overall, the franchise has better death scenes than any of the other horror franchises, Halloween included, because they got to be so just fucking like inventive with it, the cockroach thing from 4, 3, and all of it. But yeah, some great death scenes.
I actually really like, and we kind of dogged on the character. Really, the only character that I don't like is I am the wizard master. That kid, he and every time he opens his mouth, he just irritates the shit out of me for no reason. And it's nothing against the actor, but he just, I don't know, his lines in that movie just are atrocious.
They were,
but
and then the primetime girl, like that made no fucking sense whatsoever. Like I was watching last night, I tweeted about it. Like it was the coolest death. It was one of the coolest deaths in the franchise. It was like, welcome to primetime, bitch. And he puts her in the TV. But like they never touched on the fact that nobody thought that was a fucking murder. This little girl who's like the size of Muggsy Bogues is jumped up into a 7-foot TV and had the power to like face fuck it with her face and is just hanging there. They would have arrested someone. They would have been like, suicide.
Cigarette withdrawals are pretty serious, man. If you ask me, like, just
she would have had to jump up. She would have had to jump up and then like vertical, like turn vertically, and then throw herself into the TV. Like it makes
no sense.
Logistically makes zero sense. Miguel, what was your favorite death scene from Elm Street 3?
It was definitely gonna be Punk Girl for me because like her her death, even though her death scene wasn't like gruesome, like Freddy's way of like manipulating her arms to look like all of her like fucking drug scars was by far one of the most disgusting things ever. And I think I like started talking or like doing some weird thing. I was like, oh, that's so fucking gross. That was probably more gross than the tendon scene because just seeing it move on your own, that's like one of the worst things I could possibly think of happening to me. Yes. But also what made it even more like hilarious to me was when he like showed his hands and it was like all needles. I was like, oh damn, way to kick her while she's down right now.
Yeah, that was so fucking cool too, the way it looked. Just in the blue.
Slasher in Suit says, did Taryn die of a drug overdose with the Freddy needles? I think so. I mean that's one of my favorite death scenes, and like I think for me it's partially. I think part of the reason that one gets me is like that's one of the more sinister moments because it's like he's using the fact that she's an addict against her, and like when he says let's get high and he like finally stabs her, like he does the whole like it's like and then, I think he even says like what a rush or something, you know what I mean?
That's,
like,
that's the line, yeah.
Like that.
The first look that every person had when they busted it up.
What a rush.
Oh my god.
Real quick, I'm gonna go grab another drink. Jay, what was your favorite death scene from Elm Street 3?
Okay.
And I'll be right back.
Dude, that let's get high was that's a high mark to beat. That's a really good one. Well, I we've already talked about it here, and I think it's safe to say that the one that freaked me out the most, and even to this day, it makes me cringy when I watch it, is when he's puppeteering. I don't know if his name is Will.
I think it's Will.
Yeah,
is that the one that couldn't walk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he slept walk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, slept walk.
I don't know if Will is the magical user from Lord of the Rings. I don't remember. But the whoever he made puppet walk out and then throw himself off the fucking building, that's gnarly as shit to me.
Like
I was like, the fact is like you're literally having your tendons pulled out from your hands and your feet and then walked off, the top of the building and you have no control. I would say I don't know how that guy didn't leave like a trail of diarrhea all the way down as he was walking. It's like dead men walking.
Yeah, I would definitely say that was one of those scenes where it's like it was so much more scared because it was like there was literally no sense of like how could he get out of it. It was like just overpowering. They're just like you have no powers to get out of that type of situation. Whether he figured out his powers or not, there was no way he was getting out of that. And that was like probably one of the more scarier things. And that's one thing that I always had trouble with. It was actually the powers, because whenever they would start like showing their powers, I thought to myself at the end, and I was like, okay, what is any of this gonna do against Freddy? Pretty much, especially Ruben. Like she was like, so what's your powers? I'm just a badass. Yeah, and it was like switchblades, like this small. Yeah,
yeah, and a huge mohawk.
Well, the one chick
Yeah,
was
and
like, I
she-
can do backflips. I guess.
Yeah, like I could do a somersault. That helped her once, and she only did it once, and I was just
Yeah.
cracking up on that. The only
I
one
guess
that I
they were-
know, the only
No,
one
go
that I
ahead.
know that could have worked was the magical, the fucking wizard. But then
Dude,
he just
yeah.
like went off.
And then he was just like, I don't believe in it.
Yeah,
So now it doesn't work. He's like, I don't believe in fairy tales, kid. And then he stabs his ass. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
that sucked.
And in a world
Like,
where
dang.
you can think of anything. It's like, well, have you seen Green Lantern? Like Green Lantern can think of whatever he wants. And if you could think of whatever you want, you would come up with some cooler shit than that. I mean, you would. Anybody
Well,
would.
They
let me
made
ask
it.
you,
deserved it.
let me ask you a question. Who's got, out of all of them, we're not going to include Nancy because we really don't know. Like I imagine like she's like Cerebro, but who had the strongest power?
I was
Like,
gonna say the Roland, because wasn't he just strong?
Yeah,
He
that
was just
was
like
it.
a
Yeah, he
dude.
was like a,
And
yeah.
that was it. He was just powerful. And I was like,
And
okay,
He
he
means
could probably pick up a
Kincaid.
yeah, he
Kincaid.
could probably
Kincaid, yeah.
stand a chance or something like
And he
that.
never
I
really
don't
got a
know.
chance to use it. Like a scene where he was just beating the fuck out of Freddy would have been cool. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and they never really did it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could go
agree.
with that. I was gonna say Joey because Joey like had the power of like Banshee from X-Men or something. He could just like scream that motherfucker to another continent if he wanted to. But
Yeah.
Yeah, but then Freddy could just do a Wanda thing and be like, oh, what mouth? And then just
oh, dude. By the way, I know this is off topic, but are you gonna talk about one of the dumbest like reveal of a power in all of comic book movies? Period. Like the fact that he told her what Black Bolt could do before he even fucking did it, and then she was like, "What mouth?" Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, she didn't know what his power was until you opened your goddamn mouth, and I thought you were the smartest guy on the fucking planet. Reed
Yeah,
Richards.
Mr. Reed could have easily been like, Black Bolt can tell you where your children are. And then boom, roll credits. It was like, there you
Yeah, I
go.
like that misdirection.
My name's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The Illuminati thing wasn't as it wasn't as special as I guess I thought it would be.
It was
Xavier-
without a doubt one of the biggest disappointments I've seen in a
was.
while in Marvel. It definitely was.
Yeah, and the Illuminati in the comic books was way cooler, and the way it was fleshed out, and it was way more like it was way more involved. And then this was like thrown together. I know it was cool to have Patrick Stewart back as Charles Xavier, and that's badass and shit. It's cool, but it was like Reed Richards is literally the smartest man on the planet, and he literally gives away in 2 seconds their goddamn strategy. Like,
Yeah.
he's like.
And Mordo even says that he's like, and the smartest man alive, Reed Richards. And then 5 minutes later, he gives her the answers that she's wanting to like
You're right.
to get. You know what I mean,
Not even under torture. It's like, yeah, well, you're not going to do anything.
all right. So we're not keeping you guys too long, are we? I know we're like an hour and 45 minutes in.
No, you're
I'm
fine,
good.
Uh,
man. We peed.
But we can go on forever now. So let's.
I got a
let's
pee
talk some,
pending.
Yeah.
you
We'll
get.
be ready to pee again in 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Just so you know. But yeah, we peed.
Counting
Miguel,
down.
you got to pee before we or poop, whatever. Pee
Oh
or
no,
poop.
I'm just saying it's pending. I'll let you know when it's ready.
Okay, pending.
Still in the cooker.
Let's
Yeah.
let's switch and let's talk some Halloween ends. I know it's been trending all week. There's the trailer unfortunately leaked today, which
Oh, did
pisses
it?
me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the whole thing. It was a little like it wasn't like Halloween Kills where it like the entire freaking thing leaked. It was just like a little snippet. I actually reported one of the accounts today.
Good for you.
Good for
But
you, man.
there's a couple on there that are spoiling everything, and I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, I hate that we have to. Like, I know it's the world we live in, but like, I hate that it has to.
Didn't
be
you
that
tell
way.
me the dude from That's Our Raven's been leaking all the fucking the
No,
whole
it's
movie pretty much?
it's a dude. I think he's just like I don't even want to say his name and give him any more credit than it's worth, but like. He's got like the pic of the brother, I think, from like That's So Raven or one of those like early 2000s TV shows, and
Yeah.
he's leaking a ton of stuff about it. It's stupid. No, it's not the actual.
I thought it was actually him, and I was like, bro, that's pretty baller. Like, yeah, me.
Could you
Like, yeah,
imagine?
first off, fuck that guy, but yeah, cool.
I'm
So
never watching That's So Raven again. I swear to God.
so let's let me ask you guys each this. What is your dream scenario given everything like this entire timeline with 18 and H kills? What's your dream scenario for Halloween Ends blend?
Well, I mean, for me, I've always said I think it would be a really cool, awesome way to go out for the Laurie Strode to have the definitive fight with Michael Myers and go down fighting. Very much like the Van Helsing versus Dracula scenario. And then send her off on that kind of hero's way. And you know, and give her, you know, like she fights, you know, and she does her best, and Michael fucking survives. Okay, I'm gonna be a cod. I don't give a shit what she does. She can cut his head off like in Halloween or Halloween H2O. He's gonna survive. But I want to, like, if it's time to move past Laurie Strode, in my opinion. I think it's time to move past Laurie Strode. So I think the best way to do that is to give her the send off she deserves. Resurrection was not it. It was a terrible fucking put together movie. Give her the Van Helsing Dracula send off. I want to see them have the finale moment together, and then ultimately end Laurie Strode. And you know, and I'm not saying Michael be like victorious necessarily, but just to have that climactic moment where it's all building up to that anyway. And then maybe Allison takes over and like wants to hunt the demon down. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I want.
Even if nobody knows Michael survives, just the audience to know that.
Right. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we don't have to do a Mass Effect thing or something where, you know, you see his body breathe for a second, then cut. Or a Man of Steel where you see or not Man of Steel, but like, BBS where you see like the rocks come up.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think most fans would know like Michael survived. But I just want to see that happen and then move past the Laurie Strode storyline. The Strode family. Move past it.
I like that. I like what you said too. I'd be fine with that too. I think where I'm at now, knowing what I know about the movie, and we all know it's going to be weird. It's not going to be a normal Halloween movie. All the stuff that we know, spoiler-free stuff that we know, it's going to be different. What I'm actually hoping for is that if you think about movies, and like we were just talking about Doctor Strange and how they literally casted Reed Richards based on what fans said. And if you think about how they do stuff like that, and if you look at what fans want and they do what fans want, then how do fans ever get surprised by something new? Like, remember the way you felt when you watched T2 or Aliens, and this movie comes on screen and it gives you something you didn't expect.
Right.
If they always listen to fans and go with like the next logical step, how can they ever surprise anybody and give them something they didn't even know they wanted? So what I'm really hoping, based on what we know, is that they do something weird, fucking strange, out of left field with Michael Myers, and it works. And it's actually something like, oh, fuck, maybe that's why we're fans and you guys get paid millions of dollars to do this, because you surprised us and gave us something we didn't even know we wanted. So that's what I'd like to see. Now, all odds are that if they surprise us and give us something we don't know we wanted, we're going to be fucking pissed and be like, you know, but I would love to be surprised and shocked and pleased with an idea that I couldn't have thought of myself.
Right.
I think that would be cool. Will that happen? I don't know. I'm just saying that would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Miguel, it's honestly, we've learned a little bit more about it since, not spoiler stuff, but since the last time we would have even talked about it. So have your thoughts changed on how you want it to end?
My thoughts on it, no, because I am in the camp of like, you know, just do the final send off, final battle, and then, you know, let the possibility of him being still alive. But I agree with you, Mike, in regards to like what we think the directors and what the studios will do. Mainly because like last time I checked, I think that personally for me, I think this movie will be something that will definitely be controversial, and that's something that will definitely simmer for years to come. Like in the theaters, people like majority or something like that, 50-50, it might be hated and loved, but then like years down the line, like we could dare say like, yo, this is probably one of the best trilogies we've ever seen for Halloween, for that matter. Like Blumhouse really did knock it out of the park. We finally understood what he was trying to do in this movie. But obviously on first glance, we're going to be like, what the fuck was this? Or something like that. So I can almost see it going that direction just from what Brad and I have kept keeping up with in regards of like how it's a different tone, or like there's like, you know, all the other stuff, like, you know, with possible character changes and all that stuff. And yeah, I think this is definitely gonna be one movie where they're like you said, like trying something different and it work. they're pretty much like throwing a dart on the dartboard, but blindfolded and with both hands tied behind their back and praying for a bullseye. And for some reason, they might hit a bullseye for some. So I think that's personally where I think the final chapter of Blumhouse's Halloween might come to an end.
And detractors of that will bring up Rob Zombie's age too. You know, they'll say Rob Zombie tried to do something different. And here's the different. And this is the second thing I really hope for it. As long as they treat the characters right, you can do whatever you want to with the story. Show us something new, but treat the characters right. Do not make fucking Allison like a piece of shit. Like, do not make Michael Myers a fucking cookie baker or some shit. I don't know. Like, the problem with Rob Zombie's H2, he had cool ideas. He was ballsy and went new places, but he was so mad at the franchise and mad at the fans that he took characters they loved and made them assholes that were unlikable. Like, as long as they don't do that, I'm fine with whatever new you want to do, you know?
First off, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
It was a masterpiece.
They made a goddamn. I read that book. It was a masterpiece. Michael Myers rides around on a goddamn unicorn. Didn't you know? There's a unicorn, and she's not dead. He rides around on a unicorn over the nights of Haddonfield, and he tracks down anybody that would stand in his way, Sheriff.
I need Lori to look at Allison at some point in this movie and go, if I want your opinion, I'll slap it out of you.
This pen is great.
Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is literally, there's a fucking unicorn that floats around in dreams. I didn't know if I was watching Halloween or a Pink Floyd acid dream. But yes,
right?
It's good.
When it turned into Dream World, I was like, bro, like I'm ready for My Chemical Romance to start coming in a marching parade. I was like, whoa.
I'm smelling weed.
Dude, I've always said that Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is, and I know like people might hate me for this, but I think Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is the biggest disappointment in the franchise for me, because the first 20 minutes, like, and if you remember, like, I remember the marketing for that, like the trailer for that movie was sick. Like, and I was like, I mean, the first time I saw that trailer, I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is going to be amazing. I'm so stoked. And I remember like the first 20 minutes is so good. It's like, honestly, it's some of the best footage in the entire franchise when they're in the hospital, and the way he comes around the corner and just looks at the nurse on the ground, and like just that whole thing is amazing. And then the minute that he swings the axe and she wakes up from the dream, like my dad and I were in the theater because he's a big horror fan too, and we were in the theater and he was like, that's bullshit. Like, and it's just like from that point on, we just.
You know, the only thing that could have saved that moment is if they cut in with Dawkins. It was like, we're the dream warriors. Don't like, dream no more.
Honestly, though, you could have done if the rest of that movie would have been like a Halloween Kill scenario where like you get Tyler Mane's Michael just on just a rampage throughout Haddonfield, and Brackett and Loomis are trying to get Laurie out of Dodge. Like, that could have been the shit.
Amazing.
And it just, I don't know. Instead we got Loomis, who I don't know.
Well, it goes back to what Mike was saying. It goes back to, you know, Rob Zombie being pissed off and just wanting to almost like ruin the characters, like the characters that were established by, you know, by John Carpenter and the old school team. Because first off, I fucking hate it. I know I don't want to make this about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 because I mean it's your show, obviously. But the fact that John Carpenter, you know, his Loomis was like he's obviously he's an asshole, but you know he cares. What Rob Zombie did was he literally made by the second one, his Dr. Loomis is more concerned with celebrity and status than giving a fuck about hunting down Michael, because again. In the original Halloween, Loomis is very much concerned with like, you know, no matter what it takes, I'll take down Michael, and that's my only goal. In Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, it's like, well, if I can sell my goddamn book, I'll do it. If I don't sell my book, get on my face. Believe it, Michael's loose. I blame.
And then you get 5 minutes of redemption, and that's it. Like at the very end when they're like stuck in the cabin,
end,
it's like. I don't know.
Laurie's character got it. I'd say Loomis was the worst. Maybe Michael was the worst. Die! But you know, Loomis is second.
He
And then
spoke, my nuts dropped.
Scout Taylor Compton was so good as Laurie Strode. I like her better than I like her version of Laurie Strode better than the original. I know that's a hot take or whatever, but she had more personality. She was more interesting to me, and she was so good in that first movie. And then the second movie, she wakes up and she's staying with them or whatever, and she has like in Manson We Trust or whatever, like spray painted. She's obsessed. Like, tell me that a woman, a girl who just had her sweet ass amazing family, her mom and dad murdered brutally by a serial killer, is gonna all of a sudden be obsessed with Charles Manson and think serial killers are fucking cool, dude. Like all Rob Zombie gave zero thought to that character. All he said was like, I love Charles Manson, so she should too. Like, that was it.
Those goddamn kids and their hot topics.
Well, and you know, it's kind of sad because I know a lot of people don't, but I actually like the relationship between Loomis and Michael in his films. Like, I know a lot of people argue that they showed too much at Smith's Grove, and like I can kind of I understand that, but like I think it's kind of a cool way to like conclude. Like, the climax of the movie still could have been Michael having Laurie in the shack, and when like because Loomis busts up in there and he goes right up to Michael and he's like, she is coming with me, and like he's just like all badass when he walks in there. But like I just the screaming die. And even Laurie in that movie gets kind of annoying. She's like, I want my prescription. Like,
I don't give a fuck what you want, bitch. Shut up.
It's like everybody in that movie, except for, I'm not going to lie, except for Annie and Brackett. Brackett is like
perfect.
saving grace
that's
of
it.
Rob Zombie's
Brad
Halloween
Dourif,
film.
my God.
Killed it. Because he's a good guy. Like, he's a good guy just trying to do his best.
Again,
Brad
better
Dourif is
bracket
the
than
best.
the original.
Yes.
Huh?
No.
Rob Zombie created a better bracket than John Carpenter did. I mean, that's just the facts.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Well, Brad Dourif was so great in both movies. I mean, you know, and it never changed. All his character did in the second one was evolve.
Yeah.
Like, he evolved.
Yeah.
And then and it was really good. Dude, Brad Dourif is such an, like, again, Mike and I both have said this before, such an underrated actor. People don't understand like how underrated of an actor this guy is. Like, this guy was in The Exorcist 3. He did fucking awesome in The Exorcist 3. He was awesome as Brackett in this. And then I look at like Scout Taylor Compton was okay. I think that, you know, and this goes back to a lot of people saying that, well, Danielle Harris didn't get a good send off. Danielle Harris had a lot of scenery to chew up in this movie,
right?
And she did a really good job. And I don't take anything away from her in her performance, but I feel like this movie could really revolve around Brad Dourif and Danielle Harris's performances as a complete for this movie. Because again, Malcolm McDowell, it's not his fault. Rob Zombie wrote that character like shit. And like, you don't care about that character, you know. You're right, at the end he does show up awesome, but you know, at that point it's like Michael's already said, you know, or he's saying die and shit, like he's goddamn Vader from the WCW, and you're like, oh shit, I'm already checked out now. But yeah, like, I don't know, man. I'm sorry, we really went off in a tangent.
Oh,
we're talking about Rob Zombie's, because we haven't even got to your thoughts on Halloween Ends.
It's fine. Didn't you yell? Was it at Scarefest? Like, didn't you yell something at Malcolm McDowell?
Oh, dude, yeah, that was the worst experience I've ever had. My nipples went north and south at the same time. We were walking around Scarefest, and I was dressed as Loomis, and we had walked in. I think that was we'd walked in, and I was like, I will cause a chaos scene. Like, I was being stupid because I was like, people didn't know who I was. They're like, this is a crazy guy in a trench coat, and we were walking around. And I was filming Mike as Michael Myers, and then I saw Malcolm McDowell signing autographs, and I was like, "Fake Loomis." And I zoomed.
No, you said imposter Loomis.
Imposter Loomis. Yeah, and I zoomed in on him. I was like, "Imposter Loomis," and he looked, dude. That guy.
He heard you?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
He did
looked directly at the camera, and he was like looking. He was like. And I was like,
It's in the video. It's in the video. You can see
sorry
it.
about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Well, I was nervous because there was like signs that said you couldn't like video record or whatever. So
that was Brad's first introduction to horror, to like that HorrorCon thing, because like he was recording who was it? Bruce Campbell.
Well,
and he was like, oh dude, it's so cool, it's for the vlog. And I shit you not, as soon as it pans to him, he got the biggest like smack in the face or smack in the head. He was like, no film. I was
we did like a vlog thing at Scarefest, and like we're walking around and I turned and I was like, hey, that's Bruce Campbell. And he actually like turned and like went to say hello. And like the minute that he turned to say hello, this woman was like, you can't film me here. I was like,
damn.
Oh, hey. I was like, okay, well then bye. You know?
Yeah, I didn't know. Really I didn't know he didn't want to be filmed, but you know, later on we learned there were like obviously there were signs or something. I don't know. I missed it.
Yeah.
I was just walking around being funny, and I guess I yelled it too loud because my voice carries. And then I was like, you know, imposter Loomis or fake Loomis or whatever. And he looked
was mid-sign.
He was like, it was like this.
That's funny.
It's like,
that's
oh,
pretty
shit.
good.
Bad
That's
news.
awesome, man.
I love it when we get in trouble doing that at Scarefest, by the way, because it's the first time that it works out great for me that I can't talk because like I'm Michael and like Jay's stuck there in that situation. So we get in trouble and someone's like, hey, you can't film here. And I'm like,
First off,
Jay's like,
let's read the Constitution.
Yeah.
What's the Constitution say, you imperial asshole?
Every time we go to one of those, Jay's like, fuck, dude, nobody knows who I am. I'm like, yeah, they do. You later, Lewis. He's like, no, you're fucking Michael Myers. I just look like a weird guy on TV.
I did. I look I look like fucking Dick Tracy following him around, like asking people.
That's awesome, man. We got super sidetracked.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine, man. This is fun.
But wait, what are your thoughts, man, on Halloween Ends?
Well, personally, I don't know. I'd like to see Michael and Laurie married, sitting on a beach in Bora Bora, drinking like
that sounds perfect.
I want to watch them fuck. Yeah,
but he still wears like the burnt mask, like that. Like he's sitting on a beach, like he's sitting on a beach, and some like a waitress and like the luau stuff walks out, and she's like, "Can I get you another pina?" And he's like,
just say trauma. No. Just say trauma one more time. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Book your next vacation on Trivago.com.
That's like the ad. No, but I don't know. I think I'm kind of in the minority on this because I know a lot of people are like, Michael needs to live. They need to honor a Cod's like wish or whatever. I'm kind of in the camp that I think if you're going to end, because I'm looking at it from like, this is going to be Jamie Lee Curtis's last. I mean, she's not going to come back and do another one.
No, never again. Yeah.
This is her last hurrah. This is the last time we're going to say goodbye to Laurie Strode in that respect. I feel like it would be really poetic for Laurie and Michael to go out together. And like, there's even like my wife, I said, I want to watch a horror movie tonight. And she was like, can we rewatch Halloween Kills? And I was like, first of all, I love you. Second of all, like going back and rewatching it, she even said like there's like little things that she says where she's like, you know, when Frank is like, it needs to die, you know, and he's all like whatever in the hospital bed. And he says it like 10 times.
Just so you don't know.
in case you didn't know, evil dies tonight. But she even says a few times, she's like, and I'm gonna be the one to do it. And she's like, you know, I have to finish this. Like she always comes back, even when she realizes that Sartain was the one that brought Michael to her, and that he didn't like seek her out. It's still she always makes it about herself. So I kind of feel like it would be poetic for Laurie and she's being selfish. I feel like it would be really it'd be really poetic for her and Michael to go out together. Like for them to like she's gonna like, I feel like it'd be cool for her to have a moment to realize like the only way to really stop this, the only way to really save Allison and to really put an end to this for Haddonfield is if she goes out with him. You know, I feel like that would be really poetic. And I don't care how they do that. I mean, I know it's going to be different.
They both dive into a lava pit and Laurie gives the
that'll
thumbs
definitely
up
solve the
at the end.
And then Michael's hand comes up with the thumb.
I know, right? Again, you get the it's just like
And I think you can actually kill Michael now too. Like I think that's different than what it was then.
Yeah.
Like because now this is a James Bond situation. Like Michael can die in this franchise, but I think what Akkad wanted was that you can never really truly kill Michael off. So this storyline is done. We're never going back to it again.
Yeah.
So Michael can die at the end of this movie, and I'm not going to be mad about it. Although I want him to win because that's fucked up. But I want him to win. I don't want him to kill Allison. I'd rather see Allison kill him because I agree. What Andy's done with this and all that. But like, even if they kill Michael in this, I won't be mad because now we're in a Batman James Bond situation where whatever comes next is going to be a brand new iteration of Michael. So in theory, Michael will really never die. Just like, we saw James Bond die at the end of the last movie, but he's not fucking dead. They're going to make a new James Bond movie. So it's cool.
Well, you also look at like this trilogy. It's a Blumhouse trilogy. It's like the Nolan trilogy for Batman. Like it's separate. I mean, they had their story, and now you can go anywhere you want. Mike and I actually talked about that before. Like, where do we go after Halloween Ends? Do you do a sequel to Resurrection? If does a director be like, all right, well, I'm just going to take the storyline up from where it left off, and then just do another sequel, or do you start a reboot? That's an interesting question overall because, but yeah, I agree. I think that I don't mind. I fucking hate it. Okay. I'm going to cry for like 7 days if Michael dies in Halloween Ends. But if he does, I mean, I would only put it in, it's the Blumhouse trilogy versus the actual overall trilogy or the overall like storyline or something. You can do a lot with that.
Right.
I could agree with you on that. Because Halloween 2018 almost seems like a standalone film. Like it does. Yeah, it talks about like what happened in the original, but like if the original didn't exist, you could honestly tell what happened back then in Halloween 2018. So like, yeah, I could see how this could definitely be like the Blumhouse trilogy. And I like the fact that we're all kind of like understanding the fact that like directors are gonna have their trilogies of certain things, like the Sammy trilogy or the Nolan trilogy, or what was the other one? The Wash trilogy or whatever, with like No Way Home and all that stuff. So like it's nice to know that we can finally like understand that aspect, because I know back then it was like it all has to be linear. Like there's it's like one after another. That's why we have like several different types of Halloween movies and like a number of Nightmare on Elm Street's movies. So like I'm glad that now we can actually like have directors be able to tell their own story and then pass it on to someone else. I suppose so.
Yeah, I agree.
Totally agree, man.
Mike, are you watching the chat right now?
Yeah, I've been watching the chat. It looks like Jamie Lee Curtis, folks, just tweeted that something's coming in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Is she really?
Lori always says,
"Is she?"
Do as I say. Check back here in 15 minutes for a treat. Do as I
say. She does always tweet it. Like she always says stuff.
That's what I was looking at.
Where she's like, "Hey," or she does like she always does something crazy. So I don't know what that means. I mean, I know that. I hope they don't look. I kind of hope they stick to their guns. Like, bro, don't drop the trailer tonight. Just do what you were gonna do.
Can you start to head this way like right now? Can you just get in your car right now and come here?
I can take a rocket ship there.
Get the fuck up. I'm ready, dude. I'm ready for you. Let's go. I'm fucking good to go, dude.
I know, right?
I'm gonna walk in looking like a goddamn zombie from Night of the Living Dead.
It's okay. You can do it.
Oh yes.
But the whole thing didn't leak, so surely
it could just be a poster or something. But for them to drop anything at 10:25 or whatever at night,
I know
sounds to me
weird.
like they're doing
Maybe
this
she was
because
talking
it's
about
been leaking.
Activia. It's got a new flavor.
There's probably another Activia brand or like something like that.
Yeah, Activia's got a new
believe that
flavor
too.
like cherry.
It's Stephanie says the whole thing did leak. I don't know. I hope that's not true because people suck dick if that's true.
I hope not too, but
hey man, yeah. Well, to your point, Brad, and well, Mike's going to say this, like exactly the same sentiment. I'm assuming, but the people that leak that shit,
cunts.
You're goddamn manure, motherfuckers. I mean, it's bad when you do that. When you leak the fucking thing for people, I hate that. I really do. I hate it. because
you
it's
heard
like
the movie.
we're all fans.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all fans, and you're doing that. Like I could be like, I'm glad I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I could be on Facebook scrolling through and see some bullshit. I'm like, oh my God, thanks, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I saw a lot of people. They were like, if the lady with the iron, the chick who brought the iron to fight Michael Myers, if she doesn't come back, then the entire movie is just ruined. Like they just might as well stop.
Yeah, I mean, someone out there thinks that. They're like, I need it, and I'll fucking hate Blumhouse for the rest of my life if I don't see exactly what the script I wrote in my basement the other day is. You know, I
don't know, and like, and that kind of opens up and even like another piece of this. Like I kind of hope that I don't mind that they're going to do something different. I'm going to try, because like I feel like part of the reason Halloween Kills was so not negatively received, but so controversial amongst fans, I think was because we all knew so much going in. And that's why it pisses me off that stuff is starting to leak now, because it's like I felt pretty in the dark going in, and I'm okay with that, and like that's cool. So hopefully going in to Halloween Ends, like I'm trying to go in with a different mindset to like not have expectations, or to not have like crazy expectations, because I thought Halloween Kills was going to have this whole Braveheart moment with the Evil Dies Tonight stuff, and Evil Dies Tonight stuff ended up just being like Anthony and Michael Hall.
Somebody
That
at
was
karaoke
by
bar.
far one of the most
drunk
overused
karaoke
phrase
bar.
I've ever heard in a movie.
I don't know. Like it just ended up being Tommy jumping over like a foldable chair, going like "Evil dies tonight," and like, you know, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
So.
it's unnecessary. Like, and it's one of those things. It's like people take one thing they hate about a movie and they're like, it's the worst fucking thing ever. And it's like, it was a slasher movie. You know, it was a slasher movie, and it had great kills in it, and Michael ruled. I mean, dude, look at the slasher movies that we revere and act like they're Dream Warriors. Act like they're the best thing. And they have all these problems. If Dream Warriors came out today, oh my God, it would be ripped the fucking apart. Everybody would be 10 times worse than I am about it. Like, this fucking sucked. This sucked. These people should be fucking, they should give.
That's because they had Twitter and they're assholes.
Yeah, like, but now we revere it, you know? So I think that like Halloween Kills, was it perfect? No, but like it was a good slasher movie. What the fuck is a Halloween movie came out, it was a good slasher movie. Oh my God, the world's fucking ending. Like, you know?
I really, Halloween Ends, man. I hope it comes out, and I hope there's not any kind of, I know the leaks are going to happen. I know that people are going to do it because they're assholes.
I about to say, I can't confirm it is all over Twitter, the full trailer.
Oh, fuck that. I'm not.
Shit.
Well, I'm glad I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on any of that shit.
The leak. Sorry. Yeah. The leak.
If you guys, you know, like, I think that personally, I would like to go see a goddamn movie once in the modern age and be surprised, or be, you know, a little bit like what I didn't see, because I didn't want to do the research for it.
Damn it, man.
What?
Sorry, I'm looking. No, not you. I'm just looking at. I'm looking at Twitter, and I'm.
You're
assholes.
But Jay, I do agree with you in that regards, and I remember Quentin Tarantino said something about it, because when he used to go to these film festivals, when he like brought out Reservoir Dogs, like he said back in when he had Reservoir Dogs out, like, and these film festivals, like, you really had no trailer whatsoever. You had like the title and like a 2-sentence like description of the movie, and that was it. And then you just sit there and you watch the movie, and like that mystery was probably that mystery of the movie was probably what made movies so popular nowadays.
That's 100% what it was, and that's what the filmmakers want anyway, and the producers and everybody else. They want people to be shocked, or, you know, like, I can't believe that happened, you know, without having to go to like a goddamn Twitter post where someone's leaking the whole fucking thing. It sucks, man. We don't live in that kind of day and age anymore. I remember going to watch Jurassic Park for the first fucking time, and I literally had hot tamales, and they all spilled out on the fucking floor with that raptor scene at the beginning. I was fucking scared. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, it really sucks. You know, and again, I know this is your guys' channel, but if you guys are out there like spreading bullshit and leaking information, you guys are assholes. I mean, that's just facts. That's just facts.
100%, man. Well, I mean, do you want to go? Do you want to wait a few minutes? It should only be like 5 minutes to see if something drops. It's completely up to you guys.
I don't care. I mean,
She just said 9 minutes ago. Oh no, we covered that already. She said earlier, trick or treat. Were you a good person today? Do you deserve some eye candy? Then
that's
she
weird.
said,
That was hot though.
"What if it's just topless Jamie
Really
Lee
hot.
Curtis? Like, what if that's what we do?
you deserve some candy.
Only someone like Jamie Lee Curtis would say something like that, and it'd be definitely hot. Just saying.
Listen,
Yeah.
it's just gonna be
like-
like it's gonna be her recreating the the dance from True Lies.
I knew you were saying
No. And
Do it
Michael's
slow.
in the corner going,
Do it
no,
slow.
do it slow. Do it sexy.
Do it sexy.
Oh, shit. So 10 minutes ago, she said 15 minutes. So we only got 5 minutes. So I'll tell you guys this. What we'll do is we'll see what happens. We'll see what drops. And then if it does drop,
I'm with
then
you guys. I don't give a fuck.
yeah, Jay and I will pop off here because Jay's got to drive up here and we got to fucking film in the middle of the
I ain't gonna
goddamn
try
night.
get it, man. I get
You're
it.
fucking crazy.
We didn't listen. We
gotta
didn't
do it.
expect this. This is
It's our job, dude. This is what we do for a living.
happening.
You got to
as-
come.
as to do it.
I ain't gonna
Yeah,
do it.
Miguel. I
believe
hope
it,
you're
yeah.
ready. Miguel, I
Oh,
hope
they
you're
just
ready
posted
to-
the trailer 30 seconds ago.
Did they?
It's
Damn
on.
it.
The trailer's
Oh,
up. It's a
damn.
minute 15 seconds
All right.
long from Blumhouse. It's happening. Yep.
All right. Well, we'll
right.
wrap this up here, Miguel. I hope you're not ready to go to bed because we're going to be up for a little bit.
Hey,
Oh,
Miguel.
I
never
believe
peed.
it. I'm ready for it
Yeah.
too. So,
Listen,
Hey, they're
before-
fucking
Miguel,
doing it.
you're a cool motherfucker, and I want to hang out with you a lot one day.
oh, thanks, Jay. I appreciate it.
listen, we got to do this.
And Brad,
again.
I want to hang out with you too. I mean, don't feel left out.
I know.
Hey,
Thanks
live
for
here. We can party
listen,
in
I'm
person.
just gonna go. Yeah, seriously, we need to do this again. I know that we didn't expect this. This is kind of
No,
happening
I
in the
didn't.
moment, but
It's like
this
a
has
winter
been a lot of
storm
love
fun,
that
guys.
happened. Everybody lock up their kids. Put the heater on.
114 people in the chat, guys. Please be sure to leave this a like. We're both, I guess, about to part. We're about to part the Red Sea and go do our own thing since people suck ass and they leaked the trailer and we got to get it dropped.
I guess
But
we gotta go do it then.
Can't have nothing.
Mike and Jay,
Blumhouse character under pressure. Don't lie. No.
you
When do
guys
we
are
see Jamie Lee's breasts? That's all I want to know.
if there's not a JLC nude scene in Halloween Ends, I'm out. I'm leaving the
look
theater. But we'll definitely do this again, guys. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for joining us. This has been an absolute
Hey, man.
blast.
Hey, thank
I
you all
loved
for
it.
having us.
Thank you guys.
So this is awesome, man. Guys, be sure to go. I think I put Mike and Jay's channel in the. If you're one of our listeners, I don't know how you don't know who the hell they are at this point, but
It's called Dead Decaying Dinosaur. AKA we wham.
Hashtag Nostalgia Act.
guys, new episodes of our shows premiere every single Tuesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Talk the Movies. We're about to go do our own channel or our reactions to the trailer. So
You
go
guys
check
got
them
it.
out
I
when they
love
drop.
your attitude. Holy fuck.
Me too.
It
Shit.
was awesome.
Sexy shit. I like it.
So we will talk to you guys soon. Have an awesome night, and I guess go watch the Ends trailer because here we are.
We're gonna go watch it.
Boom.
So peace out, guys. Have a good one. See ya.
All right, guys.
See
Thanks
ya.
for having us.
See ya.